Alrighty, mic testing, mic testing. Alrighty, let me go to my main camera. Okay, we're live, and as you guys can tell by the title and thumbnail, today I'm going to be working on more SDL3, actually text-based AI logic in SDL3 using C++. That's it, let's go to my gameplay screen. And guys, if I sound kind of dead right now, it is because I did wake up a while ago. Yesterday, I'm not streaming my usual time because at my usual time, I am going to be kind of busy. That's it, this is my, I did finally create a new chat, so let's say something like, I'm live! Exclamation! And guys, I honestly feel like I'm sounding really dead right now. That's it, people. Welcome back to the front lines, and to everyone watching the stream right now, listen closely. Coding is not just typing. Coding is a deal with your own limit. Every second you stay here, every bug you fight, every concept you push through, it sharpens your mind more than you realize. There's a quote by Miyamoto Musashi. Okay, the undefeated samurai swordsman. Today's victory is over yourself of yesterday. Okay, that's exactly what the stream is trying to do. Not perfection, not... Okay, it's just progress. That said, NPC mood system. Today I was going to work in mood system. I did work on this a bit off stream because I did have time off stream. That said, okay, so we generally use enum type stuff. Guys, I'm not going to read all this because I feel I'm kind of dead. That said, let's go to my actual game here. Actually, my VS Code here. Okay, we're just checking if I'm audible, guys. And guys, I sound really dead. Maybe let me try eating something. Okay, that's it. This is the code from last stream because I mean I did have time to work some off stream, but I did not change anything in this code. Okay, let me actually run the code and show you guys how much I did last stream or how much progress I had last stream. If I did control is to save the code and run the command and see what happens. So I get my console here, and then let's see. I guess my window is still compiling, guys. Hold up. There we go. I get my window here as well. Okay, so basically what this was trying to do is that if I were to hit left shift and enable my chat and type something like hello, in my console it says hello type stuff, and if I like move to the right and left, my player does not move because my chat is still enabled. Although if I delete everything from here, hit right shift, that disables my chat. Now my player can move around and also like jump type stuff. Okay, although the stuff that I did actually want to do is give my NPC mood type stuff. For example, if I scroll all the way up here to my chat class, I did have like a storylines what you call it, method that I might change to something like let's say something like let's go with something like storyline replies, or I might go with something like NPC mood reply. That would sound much better. Let's go with something like NPC mood reply. Okay, so I have three kinds of NPC moods: angry, happy, and neutral. Depending on what my player or what my actually a player types on my window, my NPC is going to respond. Although, how would I do that? Let me actually think. Okay, so firstly, I did learn something about enums as well. Enums is basically what you call it. I don't know. It's like no, it's like flags, but it's better than using actual Boolean flags. If that makes any sense. That said, I'm gonna go ahead and create, let's say something like an enum for my flags to check what flag would I actually currently have after a text that my user sent. If that makes any sense, guys. Okay, so I might go with something like inner mood, which is going to be equal to a pair of curly braces, and then inside my inner mood, I'm going to be adding, okay, my bad guys, not equal to, I'm going to be adding my three states. It's going to be angry, it's going to be happy, and neutral. And guys, last, actually, whatchamacallit, I did make a small mistake or something before of typing to something like neutral, because we cannot have the same exact word here. That causes conflict. I think I spelled it wrong. There we go. Okay, so I gotta change this. Wait, does it actually work if I have these same words? I'm pretty sure that actually causes conflicts. Okay, maybe I'll just leave it to be lowercase neutral. That's it. Now, once I'm done creating enum, I'm gonna be setting. Okay, maybe I add this to be like a uppercase mood. There we go. Okay, now I'm going to be setting my mood's current mood. What up, guys? There we go. My mood enums is current mood to be equal to, I don't know, maybe neutral. Okay, so my NPC starts, or like my NPC or my mate starts with a neutral mood. Okay, perfect. And then I'm going to go ahead and end this with a semicolon. Now, once I'm done with that, how would I actually change my mood? I want to iterate slash loop over my vector of my histories, of my chat histories, and see which one of these words were repeated the most. For example, if hello was repeated the most, I want to keep my mood to be happy. If bye was repeated the mood, I want my mood to be angry. And lastly, if sorry was repeated the most, I want to keep my mood to be neutral type stuff. That makes any sense, guys? Okay, that said, so to check what you may call it, to see which one of these keywords were appearing the most inside of my histories vector, I might go ahead and create a few count variables. For example, I might go with something like a integer of hello count. There we go, which is going to be equal to, I don't know, maybe it all starts with 0, and then I'm going to go with something like a integer of something like by count, which is going to be set to 0 as well, ending with a semicolon. Lastly, I'm going to go with something like sorry counts. There we go, which is going to be equal to 0 as well. Okay, that's pretty much it for counts. Now, next up, let's see. So, most likely, I wanna... Hello, howdy, Tib, I appreciate you joining the stream. And guys, if I do sound kind of dead, it's because it's really early in the morning right now. Okay, that said. So now that I've gotten my... Okay, much love, bro, turn away from evil, put your faith in Jesus Christ, the only God. God bless you, keep it up. Honestly, that does make sense. I do appreciate you for that. Okay, that said. Now that I've got my count variables, I honestly wanna, let's say, loop over my variables. So I might use a for loop, so I could go with something like for a parentheses. Let's say something like for every integer of I which equals to 0, while my I is less than my history dot size. History is basically my vector, so I'm technically saying while my I is less than my vector's size. I want to go ahead and do something. I think I spelled history wrong, guys. There we go. Okay, I want to go ahead and do something. I want to increment my I by 1, and then I go with the probe curly braces. Now, inside my for loop, I want to increase these counts by 1 every time either a hello occurs, a bye occurs, or a sorry occurs, or my player types something like that. So I could say something like, I don't know, maybe a if statement. Let's go with something like if my history I want to see the last alphabet of my history, or should I go with something like if my history dot back. Okay, so if the last digit from my histories was, let's say, something like equal to, I don't know, maybe size. Actually, not size, maybe hello. Then I'm gonna go ahead and do something. I want to go ahead and increment my hellos variable by 1, so I might go with something like a pair of curly braces. Okay, does this actually go inside my for loop? Maybe. I don't add this inside my for loop. I could add this outside my for loop. What up, guys? There we go. Okay, now in the pair of curly braces, I'm gonna go with something like, I don't know, maybe my hello count variable. I'm gonna be increasing it by 1, so I'll go with plus plus. And then I'm gonna end it with a semicolon. Now I'm gonna go ahead and copy this part, paste it 3 times. Okay, the amount of views are very specific, and I'm not a fan of that. The amount of viewers is very specific, honestly, is it? Okay, that's it. Next up, I'm gonna go ahead and change my second one to buy. So if my histories.back is buy, then I'm gonna go ahead and increase my buy count by 1. And lastly, I'm gonna change this to something like sorry. Then let's go ahead and increase my story count by 1. Okay, perfect. Okay, now this should honestly be increasing these counts. And once I'm done increasing these counts, I want to go ahead and use a for loop to display a message based on my NPC's mood. So I could go with something like for a parentheses. Let's use a index-based for loop. So I'm going to go with something like for every integer of I which equals to 0, while my I is less than my history. There we go. history.size, which is technically my vector's size. I want to go ahead and increment my I by 1, and then I go with the probe curly braces. Now, inside my for loop, let's see what I want to do. Maybe I want to go ahead and, let's see, I want to check which one of these is greater. Okay, hold on guys. Maybe I do want to require, whatchamacallit, a few event parameters because I think I might need event loops here. I'm actually learning C++ again, didn't lose any knowledge. Honestly, it does sound kind of cool. Good luck with that, Dib. Okay, let's see. So, I actually might use an event variable here to check my current event type. So, only if my user hits enter, I want to go ahead and display my hello and increment my hello's count. That does sound kind of genius, guys. So, I might go with something like a constant, I don't know, maybe something like a constant SDL underscore events structure. There we go, which consists of the event's local variable. Then I'm going to go with another comma, and then I might actually copy these moods here. Let's go ahead and delete that from there, and I'm going to be requiring them as parameters here. Okay, honestly, basically why I did do this is I did think like, whatchamacallit, if I didn't like require these as parameters, then they might not change that constantly because I do gotta like always change them. So I'm gonna be adding these variables or these maps in my main loop, maybe above my create objects and under my create variables, actually under my create recs, I might add a comment that says something like moods. Okay, let's go ahead and paste it here. I have 3 kinds of moods. Now let's scroll all the way up here. Okay, now firstly, before I actually add these if statements, I want to go ahead and add another if statement. This if statement is going to check something like if my event type equals to SDL underscore event underscore key underscore down. This checks if my event type is key down, if any of my buttons in my keyboard are currently being pushed down. If it is, then I'm going to go ahead and do something. Let's say I want to maybe use a SDL underscore key codes structure, which consists of a key local variable representing it. Then I'm going to go ahead and set that equal to, let's say something like event.key.key, ending with a semicolon. Basically what the keys is local variable here is going to be doing right now is going to be checking the exact buttons that I'm going to be currently pushing down inside of my keyboard. And then let's go with like a switch. Okay, my switch is going to be consisting of a key, so my switch checks current key that's being pushing down. I'm going to look for a specific type of key, so I'm going to be using cases. Let's check if my SDL's key for my first case is something like return if my user pressed enter on my keyboard. Then I'm going to go ahead and do something. I'm going to go ahead and display, actually add these counts here. There we go. So every time I hit enter, my hello count increases by 1 if my user typed hello. Okay, now should I add my for loop inside of my return here as well? I might actually do that. That does sound kind of cool. Okay, so after that, I'm gonna go with let's say something like paste my for loop here. Now I use a index-based for loop. So what is it that I want to need now? Maybe I want to add a if statement to change my whatchamacallit, to change my current mood type, since my current mood does start as whatchamacallit, as neutral. To do that, I could maybe exit my if statement and then let's say add another if statement which checks something. I'm gonna go ahead and check if my hello count, basically I'm checking the whatchamacallit, the majority numbers, or like which keyword here by hello or new or sorry was occurring the most inside of my vector of hello, which is basically my chat history. So I might go with something like if my hello count is greater than my byte count, okay, and let's say something like my hello count is greater than my sorry count, then I'm gonna go ahead and do something. I'm gonna go ahead and let's set my mood to be equal to, I don't know, maybe something like happy, ending with a semicolon. And then once I'm done with this, I'm going to be adding an else if here. So let's go with something like else if. I mean, maybe just to save a few lines, I could go ahead and do it this way as well. I feel like it's the same exact thing, guys. Okay. Okay, did that save any kind of lines, guys? I don't think so. That's the next step. I'm gonna go with an else if. So let's go with something like else if, a pair of parentheses. I'm gonna be checking if my by counts variable is greater than my hello counts and my by counts variable is, I don't know, maybe greater than my sorry count. Then I'm gonna go ahead and do something. Firstly, I'm gonna go ahead and fix my typo. And then let's say I'm gonna go with a pair of curly braces and set my mood to be equal to angry. Okay, so if I type a lot of buys or if a lot of buys have been occurring inside of my vector, my mood is going to be happy. Okay guys, maybe I do add them in a new line. Okay, I mean honestly, I mean it doesn't make like a difference, but I like to keep everything like whatchamacallit, looking clean, if that makes any sense. Now, lastly, I'm gonna go with something like else if, a pair of parentheses. Let's say something like if my sorry count is something like greater than my hello count and my sorry count is greater than my bye count, then I'm gonna go ahead and do something. Let's say I want to set my mood to be equal to neutral. Okay, and then I'm gonna go ahead and edit with a semicolon. And that's pretty much it for setting my moods. Now I want to display a text message from my image depending on the current mood that I have. To do that, I could go with something like, I don't know, should I use an index-based for loop? I could actually use an index-based for loop. Although, I might actually want to add this inside of my return here. Okay, because I want this to only happen if my user clicks enter, or else it's going to happen like every single iteration. Okay, so maybe I go ahead and paste this here. I mean, checking whether or not whatchamacallit, I want to change my event type. Should that, I don't think this should be checked inside my main loop. I might get this outside. Okay, depending on my mood, I want to go ahead and do something. Let's see. So if my mood is happy, I want to display a happy text. Let's think. This event type only checks and increments my counts. Okay, in that case, I'm gonna go ahead and let's say copy my if statement from here. I want this to happen first. Okay, maybe I go all the way down here and let's use a for loop. So I'm going to use an index-based for loop. Let's say something like for every integer of I, which equals to something like 0, while my I is less than my history.size, while my I is less than my history's vector, I'm going to go ahead and increment my I by 1. Then I go with the rough curly braces. And now, depending on my mood, I'm going to go ahead and check something. So, I'm assuming I go with something like a if statement. I'm going to check if my mood equals to something like neutral. Then I'm going to go ahead and do something. I want to go ahead and let's say add a standard console output with an insertion operator. Okay, here's the thing. Before I actually whatchamacallit. Okay, first let me just write this part real quick. I might go with something like I don't know, maybe neutral, my neutral mood at index of, let's say something like last, because now I cannot be using my input text here, because usually it would be pretty smart to use our input text here. So depending on my input text, I respond. That said, I can be using that because I do clear my input text like all the way here once I'm done appending it to my histories. So I might have to create another variable. Okay, let's say I might create something like, I don't know, maybe a standard string. I could create it outside my for loop maybe. Okay, so I create, let's say, something like a variable. I don't know, maybe right here. Okay, what is the type of mood? Did I not set the type of mood? Oh, I set it to be neutral, so while my mood is neutral type stuff. Okay, that's it. Let's go ahead and paste it here. Now, I'm going to be adding a standard string of last. So I'm going to have a last variable, which is going to be equal to my histories.back. What this basically does is, whatchamacallit, I'm going to end with a semicolon. Okay, what this basically does is my histories or my messages' last message is going to be my last variable here, or the message that my user typed the last, if that makes any sense, guys. Okay, so instead of input text, I'm gonna go with something like last. Then maybe I go with something like another insertion operator. Okay, let's get this in a new line. There we go. I'm gonna say something like mage. So my mage is gonna be typing my neutral at index of last with another insertion operator of a standard end line ending with a semicolon. There we go. Okay, and that should actually be pretty much it. Now I'm gonna go ahead and copy this mood type and paste it like 3 times because I have like 3 different moods. Okay, so I'm gonna change if my mood is something like angry, then I'm gonna change neutral to be angry, and if my mood type is something like, I don't know, maybe happy, then I'm gonna be changing my neutral to something like happy. Okay, perfect. And honestly, that is actually like almost pretty much it. Now I just gotta go ahead and use my class inside of my main loop. So I'm gonna scroll all the way down here till my, let's say something like event loop. Under my hero dot key event, I'm gonna go ahead and use my chat dot, let's say something like npc mode reply with a parentheses. Now this method does require a few parameters. Let's see what all parameters. Okay, I mean, I did add these parameters, so I do know what all it requires. Firstly, it requires the event parameter. Secondly, it requires, let's see, it requires my angry parameter, happy parameter, and then neutral parameter. So I'm gonna go with something like angry, happy, and neutral. Okay, then I go ahead and end my method with a semicolon. Now, if I did Control S to save the code and run the command, let's see what happens. So I get my console here, and then I get my window here. Alright guys, here's that error that comes from my window. I honestly get this error that says, okay, so it says expression back called on an empty vector. I see guys, so to fix that, I could go ahead and check if my vector is not empty. To do that, I'm going to scroll all the way here, and now I only display any of these messages if something happens. So I'm gonna check if not my history dot empty, if my histories, and only if my histories vector is not empty, then I'm gonna go ahead and copy my for loop from here. Okay, delete it from there maybe, and then paste it here. So only if my histories vector is not empty, I want to go ahead and display my whatchamacallit, my mage's messages. Now, if I hit Control S to save the code and run the command, let's see what happens. I get my console here. Did I not save the code? Okay, it says debug assertion. Let's see, so it says expression back called on an empty vector. My vector is no longer empty, guys. Okay, so press retry the dialog application. Hold on, guys. So I did check if my vector is not empty. Did I not save it? I did save my code. Okay, so only if my histories vector is not empty. I think it's correct. Let me actually try using the debug here. Let's start debugging. Okay, so guys, honestly, I don't like have any kind of experience using the debugger, so I might have to like try figuring this out. Okay, let's go ahead and cancel this part. Okay, let's see. So the program can cause an assertion failure. CD, Visual Studio. Okay, let's go ahead and exit all that stuff. Okay, guys, how do we go ahead and exit the debug here? Okay, let me go ahead and cancel that stuff. Let's exit that. So let's cancel my window. Guys, how do I actually cancel my window? There we go. Okay, I honestly don't know what the debugging did. That's sad. Let's see. So I check if my vector is empty. Should I add that inside of my return? Maybe. Okay, I change my states here. Okay, so I change my states here. I do check if my vector is not empty. If it is not empty, then I go ahead and do something. I look for my specific type of mood. Depending on that, I display console outputs. Okay. I mean, alright, here's the thing. Why did I use a index-based for loop? I didn't have any use for it. F11 for debugging. Let me try that. I mean, yeah, I could like use the debugging from up there as well. I think it doesn't like work though. Let me actually check, because like, how do we even use the debugging? It says show pin member names, and values. Okay, I think I see. Maybe let me go ahead and exit this. Okay, wait, what if I go with line 263? There's a breakpoint. What are these breakpoints for? Maybe I go ahead and scroll all the way up. Okay, let's see, where could it be? Keep clicking F11. Keep clicking. Oh, I see. Okay. So does it show an error for... Okay, so does these red stuff mean that I made an error? Guys, I actually didn't know this part. Hold on. This actually might be really useful, guys. Okay, let's see. So let's scroll all the way down here. Okay, let's see. So I keep scrolling. How do I know if I have an error here? So I create objects. Keep clicking. Okay. There. Guys, there's no way. I got an error here. Is this how we use the debugger, guys? This is actually kind of insane. Okay, so I get an error in this line, so I go with standard string of last, which is histories.back. Okay, so my... Oh, I see where I messed up, guys. Let's go ahead and remove that. There's nothing inside of my vector just yet. So I'm gonna go ahead and paste that, I don't know, maybe somewhere here. Okay, now by here, I should be having something inside of my vector. So if I hit Control S to save the code and run the command, let's see what happens. Guys, no way, that's actually insane. I appreciate you so much. Suritev, is that who pronounced your name? Guys, that was actually genius. I finally learned how to use the debugger. You have to check empty history above. That does make sense, guys. Debugging is going to be so much better right now. That said, let me enable my chat. Type something like hello. My mate spams by saying hello, my friend. I want this to just be printed once, so I'm gonna go ahead and exit that. Let's go ahead and get my entire histories section here. Maybe inside of my return. Maybe I get everything here inside of my return event type. Okay, my if statement starts there. It ends here, so I'm gonna go ahead and copy that. Let's go ahead and delete this part and maybe paste everything right here. Okay, guys, is this like a smart move? Now, if I hit Control F to save the code again and run the command, let's see what happens. Guys, honestly, the debugging was actually kind of insane. I did not expect it to work like that. That said, I get my console and my window here. Okay, I just displayed my history by mistake, guys. Okay, let's say something like hello. Hello, my friend. If I say something like bye, it says something like get out of my sight, fool. Why did it say it twice? Let's go with something like another bye. It said it 3 times now. Okay, so maybe only my this part is outside. If you click continue while debugging, it will until you reach a breakpoint. Oh, I see. Okay, till now I didn't honestly know what breakpoints actually meant. I thought breakpoints were those yellow dots. I've seen those red dots that we display where we see our number of lines in our screen, but I think I didn't know what breakpoint means, guys. Okay, F1 step intro. I see. Guys, actually debugging is pretty insane. I might actually use it way more often now when I get errors. That said, let's go ahead and maybe copy my... okay, I'm going to copy my if statement right here. And let's go ahead and add that outside of my loop. Wait, I think I have a small error here. I think I should go ahead and remove this part. Maybe not. Let's go with a bunch of Control Z's. There we go. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and exit outside of my if statement, which is all the way here. And then let's go ahead and paste this part. Step 10, F10 is step over. Honestly, I haven't like tried F10. Let me try F10. Okay. Oh, I see. Okay, now let me try the debugging again, guys. It is kind of cool to use it. Did I use the debugging wrong, guys? Okay, let's hit something like F11. Okay, it says, let's cancel this part. Let's see, what does it say? So it says syntax error. Okay, so apparently I got a syntax error here. I guess I gotta go with a bunch of Control C's to actually get rid of my syntax error. So there we go. Okay, now I'm gonna go ahead and get my if statement. Let's copy that. It will look different if you reach a function. Oh, I see. Okay, maybe do I wanna like what is it that I want to display? I might actually copy these things. Let's go ahead and copy all this. Delete that audio from here. Okay, let's see. Now, I'm just going to be displaying my NPCs or my mage's text if my case is returned. Next up, if my case is not returned, then I want to go ahead and do something. I'm going to paste this if statement here. Okay, maybe should I paste this above? I think I should paste this actually. Let's go with a bunch of control Z's. I think I gotta paste this, what you gonna call it, above my if statements is event type. There we go. I think this would make more sense. Now, if audit control has to save the code and run the command, let's see what happens. I get my console here. Now, in my window, it says my vector is empty. So let's try fixing my vector empty. Okay. Maybe I want to go with debugging. If audit F11, let's spam hit. Um. Okay. I gotta spam hit F11 till I find an error. Okay, let's scroll even lower. There we go. So history start back equals to hello is where I actually messed up. Let's try fixing that part. Maybe I exit my debugging. Okay, let's click something like a window to exit my console. Now, okay, this thing always keeps popping up. There we go. So I did not add something inside of my vector yet. I add stuff from here depending on what I type. Maybe this isn't what I actually type. My history is not back. This could go. Okay, here's the thing. Uh, my vector is currently empty because nothing is being added to it. So I add that here. I gotta add that inside of my if statement. Honestly, how do we actually do this part? I kind of forgot. Okay, let's see. Let's go ahead and copy that. Let's delete this stuff. Maybe I go ahead and paste it after my for loop inside my history says empty section. There we go. Would this actually make sense, guys? Okay, maybe I think that actually does make sense. Now I'm gonna go ahead and copy this to change my mood types. I mean, it's fine if this is up there as well. If I hit Control S to save the code and run the command, let's see what happens. I get my console here, and then I get my window here. Now, if I hit space and then hit something like hello, maybe I'll go with something like bye. My mage replies by saying goodbye, traveler. What if I say bye again? My mage replies by saying goodbye, traveler, goodbye, traveler. It says it twice. Why does my message double? Okay, maybe to fix that, I could go with like a bunch of control Z's. There we go. Let's go ahead and paste this part out of here. And now, before, when I actually check my histories here, okay, this is where I usually get the empty vectors as error. So I'm gonna go ahead and copy my if statement from here. Okay, maybe let's scroll all the way up here and paste it somewhere here. Guys, I think this should actually work. This actually makes so much more sense now. Okay, let's go ahead and delete this part. So I change my mood from here. So firstly, I go ahead and append something inside of my vector. And then later on, I increment my stuff depending on what my vector consists of. Okay, and then where's my there we go, it is here. So I increase my counts here. After I do increase my counts, I do want to change my mood type. Guys, if this doesn't work, I might try adding this inside of my main loop. That's it. Let's go ahead and paste this here. Let's delete this out away from here. Now, if I hit Control S to save the code and run the command, let's see what happens. So I get my console here, and then I get my window here. My mage can jump up. Actually, my hero can jump up. If I hit left shift, enable my chat, type something like hello, my mage just starts to spam hello traveler. What am I doing wrong here? Let me think. Is there something that I'm really messing up here? Maybe the thing that I am messing up, could it be that I want to get my message histories? So could it be that I gotta get my message histories vector inside my return here? So my mage is only gonna reply once my player hits hello, and then um depending on my count, depending on what occurs the most inside of my vector, I increment my count by 1, and depending on that, I change my mood types. If I were to hit Control S to save the code and run the command, let's see what happens. Your coding is bad, honestly, is it? Okay, because I did try debugging as well. This is like the, whatchamacallit, the AI logic concept is kind of new to me. That might be the reason, guys. Let's go with something like hello. Oops, we gotta enable my chat. If I type something like hello, my mate says hello traveler. Hello zesty boy, guys. Zesty boy is actually kind of crazy. Let's go with something like bye. Why does it double? Let me think. Why does it double? Am I doing something to actually double my replies here? If I type something like bye again, it triples. If I type something like bye again, it multiplies by 4. Actually, it adds by 4 or increases by 4. So maybe I get these two counts outside, because is there a way? Would I honestly have to reset my counts here? Maybe I go ahead and paste this outside of my if statement. Let's go ahead and paste this here. Okay, why are the characters floating? Honestly, because I do gotta whatchamacallit, set their positions to be a bit lower. This is the random positions because my PNG is like whatchamacallit, a square or a rectangle. That's it, 0% understanding, guys. That does actually make sense. Your coding is good. I honestly appreciate you. Sergo? Is that a your name? Or Sergio? Huh. Okay, I'm pretty sure this part goes inside because like I gotta append something in my vector. Okay, let's see, because guys, I did actually write this part before, but I can't remember. Maybe because it's like 8:30 a.m. in the morning type stuff. That's let's see. Oh, I see. Okay. What if I go ahead and paste this here? This increments my vector, or maybe I go ahead and copy this part. Okay, I've learned from watching. Thank you. Honestly, it does mean the world to me. I do appreciate that. That's it about it. Let's go ahead and copy this part. Guys, I could honestly like whatchamacallit out since I started ChatGPT to figure this part out, but I think I know it. This shouldn't be that hard. So I firstly go ahead and get my user what my maybe because my standard string of last is inside of my if statement here. Where'd you live, guys? I honestly used to answer at much, but I did start avoid saying that these days. That's let's go ahead and paste this here. Okay, I think this might work here because my standard string is outside my vector, although it would not work until I don't add something inside my vector. You're not updating last in for loop. That does make sense. I should actually do that part. I gotta go ahead and update my last. So should I go ahead and add that outside my for loop? Let's go ahead and copy this part. Maybe I'm gonna go ahead. I gotta update last in my for loop. Let's see, how do I update my last? Okay, that gave you an error before. That does make sense. How do I update my last? Yes, the second time you said it was the correct way. Oh, I see. Okay, let's see. So, if I want to update my last variable in my for loop, maybe I don't add it inside of my for loop. I could add it somewhere above right here. Also, if I add it here, I don't add something inside of my vector. What if I go ahead and you're not using the correct coding language? Honestly, I am using C++. That's it, guys. I think maybe I gotta like eat something, probably starving. Okay, maybe it should be set to Spanish. Guys, Spanish. Mm, I'm pretty sure I can't figure it out because I'm starving right now. Okay, let me actually go with a bunch of control Z's. Just do histories dot size -1. I mean, I could actually do that as well, but then I wanted to like try it with whatchamacallit with the back function. Okay, that's it. If I'm here, that means stuff is being implemented inside of my for loop here, but let's see. Maybe I want to go ahead and get my text out of here, so I'm going to go with Control C, delete that. Let's go ahead and paste my text out of here. Okay, And then I'm going to go ahead and copy my if statement from here. Okay, not one I. Did I go with one? Okay, not one I. Honestly, here's the thing. I would not even need a index-based for loop here. Hold on, guys. Let's go ahead and copy this part. Let's delete it. Let's go ahead and paste this part here. Okay, so if my histories is not empty, wait, hold up. Maybe before I actually do paste this stuff here, I gotta copy my entire if statement. Okay, now let's go ahead and delete this part. There, now I exit outside of my if statement here. And let's go ahead and paste this part. So, if my histories is not empty, that's when I display these messages here. And then after that, I copy my this event type. Okay, so first I append something inside my vector, and then I paste it here. So I'm gonna go ahead and paste this all the way here. You're printing the same thing each iteration of for loop. That does make sense. I gotta actually change that part. Now, speaking of my for loop, I gotta change my for loop. Right now, it's an index-based for loop. I don't honestly want it to be index-based, so I might go with something like for every auto. Okay, so I might go with something like for every address of operator auto. Okay, when face reveal, guys, I feel like I'm already on face reveal. My face is on display, guys. Let's me eat something real quick. Okay, so let's say for every auto of, I don't know, maybe last. When I go with something like neutral at index of last, you should probably use go dot. Oh, guys, hold up. I think I actually figured this part out. Could it be because my states are actually not changing? Okay, so my state currently is at neutral, but I want to change my state, so I could go with something like for every auto of I don't know, maybe I for every, let's say something like history. In my histories is vector. So okay, I haven't used auto much though. What IDE? Honestly, it is Visual Studio. When breakfast review, honestly, I am like eating oats. I can't actually like completely twist it because my oats is kind of liquidy, but it is like, sure. That said, I might stick to an index-based for loop. Lol, no read the actual advice, but GG's. No read the actual advice. Okay, do you want to print multiple things or just the last member of the history? Honestly, I want to change my whatchamacallit, I want to change my mage's mood and like whatchamacallit, switch between these replies depending on what my user type the most, or what what my user type the most. If my user type hello the most, I want my mood to be happy and my user to give this happy as value. If my user type majority buys, I want my mood to be angry and I go ahead and reply with these replies. And if my user type majority sorries, or there are majority sorries inside of my vector, then I want to reply with these values. What are you building? Honestly, I'm working on like AI-based text logic in C++ using SDL3. That's it, guys. I think I got it figured out. All I had to do was like eat something. Okay, are you threatening my advice? Go its way, guys. Threatening advice is kind of crazy. That's it. I think I just gotta like stuff my face with something first. Okay, that's it. Let's see. Now, I first do add values and then I do add this stuff. So apparently, my histories, my last is going to be empty here. But then, hold on, guys. I think I figured this out. You shouldn't put that in a for loop. That does make sense actually. I might actually remove the for loop from here because there's literally no use for my index-based for loop out here. Okay, let's go ahead and remove this part. Hold on, guys. Let's get the for loop back up here. I forgot where to actually remove that part from. Oops, let's go with Shift Enter. There we go. Okay, now my for loop starts there. It ends here, so I'm going to remove this pair of curly braces. Let's go ahead and remove this for loop from here. And then I'm going to go ahead and go with Shift Enter to de-indent. Put display on hello world. Display on hello world, guys. Okay, where are you from? Honestly, I used to answer much, but I did start avoid saying that. That said, let's see. So I go with something like if my histories is empty, then I go ahead and display these messages depending on my mood. That is going to be changing all the way here. Okay, I might still get a small error with my standard string of last because my history does consider. Oh wait, no guys, this actually should work. Hold on guys, I think this is actually correct. If I did control S to save the code and run the command, let's see what happens. There we go. Okay, so the reason I don't get error even though my vector is empty because I check I only run that block if my vector is not empty. Now, if I were to type something like bye, what up guys, forgot to enable my chat. Let's type something like bye. It says goodbye traveler. If I type something like bye again, it says goodbye traveler too, but it says that a lot. So, is there something that I gotta get outside of my loop? Excuse me guys. Okay, this part, maybe let's go ahead and copy this part and then delete this. This part goes inside my returns section all the way here. There we go. So if my user did click enter, if my vector is not empty, then I go ahead and type this stuff. Okay, and then I go ahead and append each time I type something inside of my vector. If my hellos count is greater than my byes count and my hellos count is greater than my sorries count, mood happy, and stuff like that. If I did control S to save the code and run the command, let's see what happens. I get my console here, I get my window here. And then let's see, so I'm gonna go ahead and get this up guys. I feel like my brain is actually opening up right now. Till now I was kind of rusty because I just woke up. It says hello traveler. Let's go with something like bye. Goodbye traveler. Let's go with bye again. Goodbye traveler. Let's type bye again. Goodbye traveler again. So to fix that, I'm gonna go ahead and get my if statement all the way outside. So I'm gonna get my if statement outside of my return. So let's go all the way here. Okay, so I change my mood depending on what my user types. Now if I did control S to save the code, should actually get my if statement outside my return as well. Honestly, I might actually get it outside my return. Okay, let's go ahead and delete that from there. Let's go ahead and paste this here. Guys, I feel this is actually gonna work. If I did control S to save the code and run the command now, I get my console here. Okay, I don't get my window because it says my vector is empty, so I do gotta get this inside of my, inside of my return type or like my enter or my event type here. If I did control S, I get my console here and I get my window here as well. Now let's enable my chat, type something like hello. Let's see what happens in my console. It says hello traveler. Although I wanted to type something like, let's go with something like bye, goodbye traveler. I'm gonna type something like bye, bye. Let's just spam byes for a bit. I want to check if it changes. For now, I should be having a lot of byes inside of my by counts as variable here. But the thing is, my mood does not change depending on stuff here. Why could that be? Maybe I go ahead and get my let's say something like if statement that changes my mood outside my event loop. Actually outside my event type, if that makes any sense. So I'm gonna scroll all the way up here. Let's go ahead and paste this here. So I check my event type here. If I did control S, I have a really strong feeling this might work guys now. I've been actually saying that for the past 30 minutes-ish. It says an application control policy has blocked the file. What do you do for studies? Honestly guys, I still am a freshman in college. That said, this is currently my winter break, so I do have more time to stream these days. Guys, I don't know what happened last time. I can run my program this time. I think my antivirus just kicked in or something. Okay, that said, now if I were to enable my chat, type something like hello. It says hello traveler. If I go with something like bye, it says something like goodbye traveler. If I go with something like bye again, it says goodbye traveler. Honestly guys, I don't know. Where am I actually messing up? Is it something inside my main loop? Okay, why are you defining the count values every time? Am I defining it every single time? I want to go ahead and increase my count values every time my user types bye, hello, or sorry. Although, what happens if I add this outside of my if statement? then I get a error because my vector is empty. Maybe I want to display my text depending on my last message. I don't want my last message to execute if my user types empty here. Huh, if my hello count, okay, I have my count here. Okay, so why are you defining the count values every time? Actually, are you defining? Honestly, I am defining it every time. Trying to get it to save and not define every single time. Every time I hit hello, my hello count should increase by 1. Okay, it does honestly. It should increase by 1. Guys, let me eat something real quick. Maybe I need to eat, actually, what you call it, have some energy. Don't define the count variable inside the function. If I don't, I mean, yeah, I did like, if I don't define it inside my function, I'm gonna get an error because my vector is empty. I mean, guys, if I couldn't figure it this time, I do like whatchamacallit, I might actually look at some reference code that I wrote last night, because like last night this stuff did work when I tried practicing a bit. Let's see, hello count. Okay, so that is my hello count. I gotta add something here. So every time my user types something like hello, so maybe oh, I see. Hold on, guys. I was actually doing everything correct. This should be else if. There we go. Guys, that was actually kind of stupid. It resets to 0 every time. Take it as a parameter. Honestly, it wouldn't reset to 0 because I don't think like in loops it would reset to 0. In function it would be saved. Okay, guys, I think this is going to work because like I just forgot to change my stuff to else if. That was kind of stupid. Okay, so I get my console here. And then I get my window here. Now, let's type something like hello. Let me enable my chat. I'm going to start off by typing something like bye. Goodbye, traveler. Let's type something like bye. It says goodbye, traveler. Hello. It sticks to my first event type. Angry last. That is if my mood is angry. My mood apparently does not happen. Wait. Even if I hold on, guys, I don't think it's a logic error here. Even if I type something like bye to begin with, my event type is angry. I should go ahead and get this inside my function. My moods never change. Okay, you're saying bye count equals to 0, etc. every single time. Equals to 0 every single time. Maybe let's copy that. I think that whenever I open stuff, my count, it never changes. I mean, even if it never changes, there's nothing being stored here. I should be displaying my else if type here. What if I go ahead and paste this all the way here? Now this is inside of my return, but do I really want it in my return? I don't think that I want it in my return. What if I go ahead and copy these and maybe paste it inside my return type as well? Okay, and now I go ahead and append stuff. Okay, so stuff is going to be added here. If I ordered controllers to save the code and run the command, let's see what happens. I get my console up here and my window. Guys, I do not think this should be as hard as it's looking. Let's go with something like hello. Oh, guys, I should have gone with bye. Alright, guys, maybe I might take a tiny sneak peek because yesterday, like if I go to my C++ practice, yesterday when I typed this code, then it actually worked. Oh, I went with a index-based for loop that checks if my histories at index of I is hello. Oh, I see. Okay, so every time I append stuff inside of my histories, if it is hello, then I increase my hello count. Guys, I just realized yesterday the code that I even wrote was so much cleaner than today's code. That's it. I added an if-else if to change my mood, and then I added an if statement to check if my histories was not empty. Then I went ahead and displayed stuff depending on my current mood. try typing static before integer the count variables. That actually does make sense. That said, the place that I did mess up was let me actually check the way I was actually adding my mood here. So in my SDL3 project, the way I was actually adding my mood is, let's see, okay, I was setting my mood equal to be happy, but let's see, where was I messing up again? Hold on, guys. Let's go ahead and copy this, delete it from here. Let's paste it under my regular variable types. Now, I won't be adding these things inside my event type, so I'm gonna go ahead and delete that. Let's go with something like return. Let's delete that part. And now I go with histories.back, which is the last value of my histories, but nothing has been added here because this does come under my if my histories dot actually it does not, it comes under my return. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and copy this part. Let's delete it here, and then let's scroll all the way down here. Let's use an index-based for loops. So I'm gonna go with something like for every integer of I which equals to 0. I don't know why I couldn't think about this today morning. I thought about it perfectly last night. Maybe because I just woke up, guys. That said, for every integer of I which equals to 0, while my I is less than my history dot size, my vectors is size, I'm gonna go ahead and increment my I by 1. Then I go with the pair of curly braces. Now inside my for loop, I'm gonna go ahead and do something. Firstly, I'm gonna go ahead and check if my history at index of I, this avoid saying history at index of back because my histories might be empty type stuff. If that is equal to hello, then I'm gonna go ahead and do something. What up, guys? This should be an if statement, my bad. I'm gonna go with something like if my history is at index of I equals to something like hello, then I'm gonna go ahead and do something. I wanna go ahead and set my mood to be something like, I don't know, maybe happy. So I'm gonna set my moods as enum to be something like happy. Excuse me, guys, ending with a semicolon. Then I'm gonna go ahead and copy that. Let's paste it 3 times. So I'm gonna go ahead and paste it and paste it. Okay, now I'm gonna check if my mood is by. Excuse me, guys. Then I'm gonna change my enum to be something like angry. Okay, and lastly, I'm gonna check if my user types something like sorry. I'm gonna change my enum to be neutral. Okay, perfect. Now, once I'm done with that, depending on my current mood, because the reason this actually changes my mood is because I'm not looking the last alphabet of my vector. Wait, hold up, guys. I think I gotta change this to be something like hello count increase by 1. Okay, my bad, guys. And then I'm gonna go ahead and change this to be by count that increases by 1. Okay, and lastly, I'm gonna go with something like neutral count that increases by 1. Okay, now why this actually does make sense. Let me end these with a semicolon real quick. There we go. I think I spelled neutral wrong. Hold on, guys. There we go. Did I spell neutral wrong? My bad, guys. It's sorry count. Guys, I feel like I'm way too, dead-minded right now. That's it. The reason this actually works is I check if my history is at index of I, which iterates over everything inside of my vector. If it finds a hello, my hello increases by 1. If it finds a bye, it increases my bye by 1. If it finds a sorry, it increases my sorry by 1. And then once I'm gonna check which one of these is the highest by using a if statement. I'm gonna check if my hello count is greater than, I think I spelled count wrong. There we go, is greater than my bye count. Or I'm gonna check something. Actually, let's go with something like and my hello count is greater than my, let's say something like sorry count. Then I'm gonna go ahead and do something. I want to set my mood, so I'm gonna go with something like mood equals to something like happy, ending with a semicolon. I think I spelled happy wrong, guys. There we go. Okay, and then for my second else if, I'm gonna go with something like else if, a parentheses. Let's say something like if my bye count is greater than my hello count and my bye count is greater than, let's say something like my sorry count, then I'm going to go ahead and do something. I'm going to be setting my mood to be equal to something like, I don't know, maybe angry, ending with a semicolon, and then I go with another else if with a pair of parentheses. Let's say something like if my I don't know, maybe something like sorry count. If my sorry count is greater than, let's say, my hello count, and my sorry count is greater than, let's say, something like my bye count, then I'm gonna go ahead and do something. I'm gonna go ahead and set my moods as enum to be neutral, ending with a semicolon. And guys, that's honestly pretty much it. This should actually work. Okay, did GPT give you this code or did you write it all by yourself? Honestly, I did like write this all by myself. That said, if I did control us to save the code and run the command and see what happens. Why are you talking so soft? Honestly, because I feel everyone is like sleeping right now, so I don't want to like wake anyone up. Because usually I do stream at like my 2 o'clock type stuff, but then actually my 2 p.m. or like my 12:30 a.m. or everything. But today I'm like kind of busy at that time, so I won't be able to stream. So I was streaming like I think I streamed like at 7:45 or something, or maybe a bit later or sooner. That said, let's go with something like hello. It says something like hello, my friend. If I go with something like bye, it says goodbye, traveler. But if I type bye again, it says get out of my sight, fool. Okay, so it does work. If I go with something like sorry, it says no more chats. If I say sorry again, it says something like it's alright because sorry is my majority right now. If I go with something like bye, it says something like get out of my sight. It says something like, if I say something like hello, it says no more talks. If I say something like sorry, get out of, it's alright. Okay. Okay, that's only if you use more than one file, which he clearly isn't. That's only if you use more than one file. Honestly, what does more than one file mean? Okay, what are you replying to? Okay, that said, this is actually perfect. It does actually work. I think I should reward myself by eating some oats, guys. Okay, so now that I've used my logic, that was the hard part. Static, I see. Okay, now I'm gonna actually display my text on my window above my NPC's head, if that makes any sense. To do that, let's see. He's at it again, that dedication though. Honestly, Hiding Temple, I appreciate you joining the stream. That said, now that I've actually, created my text here or something that displays on my console, I want to display it on my window. To do that, I gotta honestly, let's say, okay, NPC mode reply. I gotta create surfaces, structures, and colors as well. So I'm gonna scroll all the way down here until my entire if statement is over. So all the way here. Okay, now to actually create my structure, here's the thing. Do I want to create another method or should I display it in this method? Maybe I do display it in this method. That said, how would I display the stuff here? Let's think. I might have to go ahead and create something like a SDL underscore colors this texture. My color is going to be something like, it's going to be represented by a colors local variable, which is going to be equal to, I don't know, maybe something like black. So I'm going to go with 000 and 255, which is an RGBA value. Very cool. Okay, that's it. I'm going to go ahead and end this with a semicolon. Next up, okay, did I mess something up here with a semicolon? Expected a pair of curly braces. I did have a pair of curly braces with a bandage here. Okay, that does work. Next up, I'm gonna go ahead and use the SDL underscore text surfaces structure. Actually, SDL underscore surfaces structure, which is going to be represented by something like my mage surface. I'm gonna go with something like mage text surfaces parameter, which is going to be equal to, let's say, something like the TDF underscore render text underscore blended function. Okay, perfect. Then I'm going to go ahead and add a pair of curly braces. Now, my render text blended function does require a bunch of parameters. Okay, so here's the thing. What my NPC actually says, should I actually add another method for that? This is display text on Windows, so that is my player's text. I want to go ahead and display my NPC's text in window as well. I could honestly require a font parameter here as well. So after adding my, let's see, so after adding my parameters here, I might go with something like a font as well. So I'm going to go with something like TDF underscore fonts structure, which is going to be represented by a fonts local variable. Okay, perfect. And then I'm gonna add a comma here, then require these parameters. Now, if I were to scroll down, let's see what happens. Actually, let's see what happens. Let me go ahead and fill in a few parameters here. The first parameter is going to be my font size local variable. The second parameter is going to be a constant character text. In this case, what might be my text? My text might be something like neutral. Okay, these are my texts, so I want to display them on my window. Okay, to do that, depending on my mood, I want to display my text. So maybe I go ahead and copy this from here. Let's go ahead and delete that. And should I paste it inside my case here? Okay, so my case checks if any of my buttons were currently being, actually if my return button is clicked. If it is clicked, then I do something, I want to display it on my window. Inside a local scope, static does multiply things here. It would have retained the values of the variable inside a function, though I'm not sure about methods, though I'm actually sure inside a local scope. Okay, I'm not actually sure, I see. Okay, that's it, let's see. So the way I displayed stuff here, I went with and then I got my text surface. This is my text surface, and I rendered it on my display. This is input text dot c string. In this case, my input text is gonna be it's gonna be depending on my mood. This part is gonna be kind of tricky, guys. Hold up, let me actually think this through. Okay, for my second case, actually I still want to be on my return case. I'm just going to be adding another if statement, so depending on my mood, I want to go ahead and display my text on my window. Maybe I go ahead and add those stuff here. I could use SDL underscore colors as structure. Maybe I might add my structure my colors as structure all the way up here. So I might go with something like SDL underscore colors as structure, which is going to be represented by colors as local variable that is going to be equal to, let's say, something like 0000255, which is an RGBA value. And then I go with something like SDL underscore surface, which is going to be my surface, a pointer towards a surface of something like a mage text surface. There we go. And then I set that equal to the TDF underscore render text blended function. So I'm going to go with something like render text underscore blended function. Okay, with a pair of parentheses. Now my render text blended function requires a few parameters. The first parameter is going to be my font. The second parameter is going to be my text, which in this case is going to be my text depending on my mood. 2 a.m. for me, so gonna have to catch the next one. Respect, brother. Honestly, I appreciate your tempo. I'll catch you next stream. Okay, let's see. So I don't want to actually add my text just yet. I want to add them depending on my mood. So depending on my mood, I might copy this. So I might have multiple surfaces. Let's go ahead and paste this here for my first surface. This is gonna be angry surface. So I might go with something like angry text. Actually, neutral text surface. This is my neutral text surface. And my let's see, my constant string is gonna be my neutral, okay, at index of last. This is not a neutral string, so I'm going to be converting this to C strings. I'm going to use the C string function. Then I'm going to go with a comma, and then I'm going to be requiring a length parameter and a color parameter. Since I don't have a length, I'm going to set this to be 0, and my color is going to be something like 0, ending with a semicolon. Now I'm going to go ahead and copy this part. Let's paste one surface for here as well, and one surface for this mood as well. Okay, now let's see. Once I'm done with that, I'm gonna go ahead and move on to the next step. My next step is gonna be to check if my surface was created properly. Guys, thinking about it, this is gonna get really long. So I might go with something like if a pair of parentheses. You should put important values like values inside the map in the main function. Right now you're redefining those every time, which is unnecessary. Oh, that does actually make sense. You should put important values like that. Okay. I should put it inside, okay, the values inside the map. You should put important values like the value inside your map in the main function. Okay, so should I actually add my color variable in my main function? Mm, right now, redefining those every time. That does actually make sense. Okay, so should I take my color as a parameter? I mean, I could actually do that stuff, so I might actually copy this. Let's go ahead and delete this from here. I might require a color parameter as well here, so I'm gonna go ahead and paste that here. Go with a comma. Now if I were to scroll all the way down here, let's paste a color parameter inside of my main loop. Maybe let's go all the way here, add a comment that says something like a load color. Okay, neutral, happy, etc. Oh, I see. Honestly, I did add my neutral, happy, and all that stuff inside my, inside my main loop. Like all the way right here. Angry, those maps, I see. Oh, I actually did add them inside my loop, so I might actually go ahead and paste my color back here. And now, I'm gonna go ahead and do something. So I'm gonna add an if statement to check something. First thing, I gotta probably eat something, kind of starving. Let's see. Okay, let's see. What was I gonna check? I'm gonna check if my neutral text surfaces variable, the members of those members. Honestly, I didn't like add those inside my main loop. The maps of those. Angry, those maps. Honestly, yeah, I did like add those maps in my main loop. I just take them as parameters inside of my NPC mode reply. Okay, that's it. I'm gonna check if my neutral text surface was created properly. Then I'm gonna go ahead and create a texture. Here's the thing, I might actually create a class for this. I don't want to use this whole thing in a function, but I could actually do it. I might go with something like SDL underscore texture. So I'm gonna go ahead and create a texture or a pointer towards a texture called something like neutral text texture. Okay, which is going to be equal to my SDL underscore create texture from surface function. So I create a texture from surface. Now my SDL underscore create texture from surface requires two parameters. The first is going to be my render, so I'm going to add my render parameter. The second is, excuse me guys, the second is going to be my texture, which in this case is going to be my neutral text texture. Guys, I just realized there's going to be so many parameters that I'm going to be requiring here. This could be for console, but depending on my mood, like, what if I actually copy these moods? Let's go ahead and copy that. Go all the way up here. Okay, I want to go ahead and paste my my moods here. And I mean, I don't think there's like a point of keeping my text inputs like inside my private data member, because I don't think that I even use it as a private data member. Okay, you're assigning values inside another function to do that. Assign values after creating maps. That assign values after creating the map. Assign values in enums. I think I see. Okay, so let me get these things outside. Now, if I were to scroll all the way down here, outside the while loop, assign values outside the... Oh, I see. Okay. That actually does make sense. Now, I'm going to go ahead and let's say remove this part from here. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and remove this part. Let's go ahead and delete that. End this with a semicolon. I'm going to go ahead and remove this part as well. I'm going to have a separate dedicated function for displaying my text on my window. Why do I see red underlines here? Okay, maybe I got to go ahead and remove that and go ahead and remove that as well. Now, this is pretty much it for my NPC mode replies on my consoles part. Now, I want to display my NPC mode replies. So my void function starts there. It should end here. So I'm going to go ahead and create another void method called something like display NPC reply on window function. Okay, with a parentheses. This function does require a few parameters. The first parameter could be a font, so I might actually remove these variables from here. I would not need a font here. Okay, now let's scroll all the way down. I might require something like a SDL underscore renders a structure, which represents a renders as parameter. Can you teach me and tell me how to improve and learn fast? I'm currently learning Java. Please give some tips. Honestly, I haven't like started Java yet. That said, The best tip that I would give is like to program every single day, because like practice makes perfect. So the more you actually work, the better you get. Is this repo on GitHub? Honestly, I don't actually think, because like whatchamacallit, I need to learn how to use GitHub. Honestly, I think it would be really useful. It wasn't even saving his files before. Honestly, I usually do delete my code after I'm done writing it, so I can like write it again and practice more. That said, I'm gonna go ahead and do something else now. I'm gonna be requiring a TDF underscore fonts structure, which is gonna be a pointer towards a font. That's probably all the variables that I'm going to be needing for now. Next up, firstly, let's see what I want to do inside my method. I might want to create a color, so I might go with SDL underscore colors structure. That represents a color's local variable, which is going to be equal to a pair of curly braces. Might go with 000255, which is basically the RGB for black. And then I'm going to go ahead and end this with a semicolon. Then I go ahead and create a surface. So let's go with something like SDL underscore surface structure. So there we go. Which is going to be represented by something like a... Okay, I'm going to be having 3 moods here. So before I do create a surface, I'm going to add a if statement to check something like if my mood equals to let's say something like neutral. There we go. So if my mood is neutral, then I'm going to go with a pair of curly braces, and then I'm going to go with something like SDL underscore... Okay, in that case, I might need these parameters here as well, like of my mood. So I'm going to go ahead and copy these. Okay, let's scroll all the way down, and then let's go ahead and paste this here. There we go. Okay, bro, I honestly recommend you try SDL on Android and iOS. I tried my best to get something that looks like Material UI made a button that looks close to a one in the Material ecosystem. That actually does sound so cool. But SDL renderer is just not powerful enough. Honestly, is it like not? I thought that the renderer could like render almost anything that we wanted to render. Okay, that's it. I'm gonna go with something like SDL underscore textures as surface. So if my mood is texture, then I'm gonna go with something like SDL underscore texture with an asterisk towards something like a neutral texture. So I might go with something like I don't know, maybe neutral text surface. So I'm gonna go with something like neutral text surface, which is gonna be equal to the SDL underscore render text blended function, render text underscore blended function. And guys, I think I spelled it wrong. Try to make simple programs on your own. Try to spend time trying to solve every issue. Google errors you don't understand, but if there's a logic issue, but not if there's a logic issue. That does make sense, guys. That's it. I'm gonna go with something like blended. Now I go with the pro of parentheses, my SDL. Okay, guys, my bad, guys. It wasn't SDL. It's called TDF. TDF underscore render text blended function does require a bunch of parameters. The first parameter is going to be my font. The second parameter is going to be a constant character of text. Now, here was the hard part. Actually, the hard part, the trickier part. So, I want to go ahead and display my neutral. Okay, so I want to go ahead and display my neutral with the last text that my user actually displayed on my window. So I gotta go ahead and add a if statement up here. So I'm gonna go with something like if, a pair of parentheses. Let's say something like if not my history dot empty, if my history is a vector is not empty, then I'm gonna go ahead and do something. I add a pair of curly braces. Let's go ahead and copy this if statement and paste it inside of my if statement right here. Then I'm gonna go ahead and do something. Firstly, I want to go ahead and create a standard string of last variable, which is going to be equal to something like my history dot. Already mic testing, guys. My OBS just crashed for some reason. That's it. Let's see. I do add emoji here type stuff. What was I actually gonna do? So I had it last year. So my reply is gonna be my neutral. So I'm gonna go with something like my neutrals is map at index of, let's say something like last dot the C string. So I'm gonna go with C underscore strings as function with a pair of parentheses. Then I go with another comma. It can render, but something like plasmophorism effect or shockwave effect don't work right. That's why I gave up on SDL and just went back to plain old Rect Native. Honestly, guys, I didn't know that we could actually display whatchamacallit shockwaves in like SDL. But that actually does make sense if like we animated every single frame and have the whatchamacallit, the clips on. The third parameter is going to be a length and the fourth parameter is going to be a color. Then I go ahead and end my function with a semicolon. Okay, so it requires, let's go with something like, so why do I see a red underline? I do know where I actually messed up here. My surface, oh, my bad guys. This is a texture, I gotta create, this has gotta be a surface, there we go. Okay, perfect. Now, once I'm done with this, I'm gonna go ahead and check if my surface was created properly. So I go with something like if a pair of parentheses. Let's say something like if my neutral text surface was created properly, then I'm gonna go ahead and do something. Firstly, I wanna go ahead and create a texture. So I'm gonna use the SDL_textures as structure, which consists of something like neutral text surface. Okay, which actually, I might go with something like neutral text texture. Okay, which is going to be equal to the SDL_create. Alright guys, there we go. Create texture from, let's go with something like create texture from surfaces function with a pair of parentheses. I'd really recommend to make a long format videos for this, edit it nicely, and you have a lot of potential for viewers. Honestly, that does make sense. I should actually, make more videos of like writing this code so you guys could like fast forward as well in case I'm like kind of slow type stuff. But guys, I don't know much about editing because like I feel like I used to like edit a lot before. That said, bits of my college started, I did like lose half my skills in editing. I might try getting that back, guys. Okay, next up, my SDL_create texture from surface requires two parameters. The first is going to be a renderer parameter. The second is going to be my surface, which in this case is going to be my neutral text surfaces variable. So I'm going to go with actually neutral text surfaces surface, and then I add my function with a semicolon. Now that I've created a texture, I want to get the width and height of my texture because I don't want my text to be like stretched up. So I might go with something like if a pair of parentheses. Let's say something like, I don't know, maybe, let's see, I could honestly go with something like a floating point. Let's go with something like a floating point of texture width and texture height variables. Now, I'm gonna go ahead and use the SDL_getTextureSize function. This function gets my texture size, but it does require three parameters. The first parameter is going to be my texture, which in this case is my neutral text texture. Excuse me guys, the second parameter is going to be the memory address of my texture's width. The third parameter is going to be the memory address of my texture's height. Then I have my function with a semicolon. Now, once I'm done with this, let's see what else would I need. I might actually go ahead and create a rect for my texture as well, because my texture does have to be located somewhere. So let's go ahead and create a rect says structure. So I might go ahead and create something like a SDL_frect structure. That is going to be called something like maybe rect. Okay, then I go ahead and end this with a semicolon. Now let's fill in a few parameters. So I might go with something like rect.width equals to my texture's width multiplied by my scale, ending with a semicolon. Here's the thing, I gotta require a scale parameter as well, so I might go with something like a floating point of scale. Okay, and then for my rex's height, that is going to be equal to my texture's height multiplied by my scale as well, ending with a semicolon. Now, once I'm done with all this, I'm gonna actually display or use the function that does display my texture on my window. To do that, I could go ahead and use the SDL_the render texture function. This function renders a texture on my window, but it does require a few parameters. Okay, let's see. Honestly, I feel it requires a bunch of parameters. The first parameter is going to be my render. The second parameter is going to be my texture. The third parameter is going to be a source rect, which I don't have, so I'm going to be setting it to be null PDR, which is a placeholder for pointers. Lastly, the fourth parameter is going to be the memory address of my rect, ending with a semicolon. Now, this should display my text on my screen. Although, once I'm done displaying my text on my screen, what I do create, I do gotta destroy them as well. So I created a texture here, so I gotta destroy it. So I'm going to use the SDL underscore destroy textures this function, which does require parameter of my texture ending with a semicolon. And outside my if statement, I'm going to destroy my surface as well because I did create a surface. So I'm going to go with something like SDL underscore destroy surface with a pair of parentheses, which does require parameter of my neutral text surfaces variable. There we go, ending with a semicolon. Now, once I'm done with all this, just to save time, I'm going to go ahead and copy this. Okay, let's go ahead and copy that and paste it 3 times. Does it seem like a waste? Honestly, yeah, it seems like a lot of light just being wasted out here. But I do need this for like having different kinds of moods. Like this is gonna be my happy mood. Okay, I don't know if there's like an easier way to do this stuff without having without having to use these many lines of code. I might change this to be something like happy text surface. Let's copy that. Let's paste it here, but there's a lot of chance of getting an error here. There should be an easier way to do this, guys. Again, this is going to be something like happy. Let's go ahead and paste my surface here. Let's go ahead and copy my texture, paste my texture here, paste my texture here, paste my texture here, and lastly, paste my texture here. Okay, that changes everything. Now I'm going to scroll. Okay, this is my surface name. Let's copy my happy text surface and paste it here. Okay, now for my last type, I'm gonna go ahead and change this to be something like angry. Okay, and then I'm gonna change this to angry text surface. Let's go with something like angry text surface. I'm gonna copy that, paste it here, and paste it here, paste it here. Okay, then I change my texture to be something like angry text texture. Also, is the whole point in the same file? I've had a few months of experience in SDL. I highly recommend to make a header file and have all the functions in there. Okay, here's the thing, guys. How do I do that stuff? Because like in like Python, I could like have multiple tabs here, like have multiple tabs, each tab consisting of a different code. How do I add separate files? Because yeah, I do gotta add separate files because like this code is like let's see, it's 481 lines. It's going to be like even longer. It's going to get really hard to maintain, guys. Speaking of maintaining, I shouldn't have left this spot. I forgot where I was. There we go. I think I was here. I'm going to change my neutral text to be something like angry text texture. And then I'm going to go ahead and copy that. Let's paste that here. And then let's go ahead and paste that here and paste it here. Okay, and that's pretty much it. Now, if I were to save the code, let's copy my function name again. Yeah, I do need to add my function in a separate file, guys. How would I actually create a separate file? Do I go to my files up here and do something? I might actually try. That said, let's scroll all the way down and go under my event loop. And let's do something like chat.the display npc reply on window that does require a bunch of parameters. It requires my render as a parameter. It requires, let's say, something like a font. So I'm going to use my font variable. It requires scale. My scale is going to be something like, I don't know, should my scale be, okay, I'm going to go with something like, I don't know, what scale should I add? Maybe something like 0.13, which is a bit bigger. Also, you really need to make a separate C++ file that makes textures for you. It would save a lot of lines of code. Okay, you would otherwise have to repeat over and over. That does make sense. Lemon email from Michelle. Guys, that's actually, I have like many of you guys did call me that. That's the third parameter. Okay, here's the thing. If I do create separate C++ files, how would I actually use that file as content inside of my main file here? Would I have to type something like a main C++ file and then should I go with, because in Python I used to type something like import this content from this chat. Okay, where are you from, broski? Honestly, I used to answer that much, but I did stop avoid saying that. That's let's go with something like a 10-second timeout, guys. Let's not actually spam. Okay, perfect. Next up, let's see, what is the next parameter after scale? I'm going to be requiring a happy. Hold on, guys. I have happy and I have neutral. Where's my angry? Guys, where's my angry parameter requirement up here? Hold up, let's go all the way up here to... I just require happy and neutral. I gotta go ahead and add one that says something like angry as well. So happy, neutral, and angry. Okay, let's scroll all the way down here now to... I'm gonna go ahead and add my happy, neutral, and angry parameters inside my parameter here. So I'm gonna go with something like happy, to neutral, and angry. Okay, perfect. Then I end my entire function with a semicolon. Now, if I hit Control S to save the code and run the command, let's see what happens. I get my console here, and I get my window here. Okay, let's actually get my console popping out a bit. Now, if I were to type something like hello, my mate says hello, my friend, but it does not reply here. If I type something like bye, 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 it does change here, but it does not display on my window. What could the reason be? I did start my input text though. Let's see, maybe guys, I think the if statements were kind of unnecessary up here. I check if my history.empty, I do all that stuff. I go with angry texture. I display my texture on my window if my history is not empty. Okay, if my mood is angry, I do that. My mood definitely sometimes is angry, so I gotta go ahead and where are the variables that I might require? Okay, maybe not up here, somewhere here. Okay, should I go ahead and add my hello, bye, and sorry counts up there too? Okay, maybe, let's see. This is something that increases my counts. Maybe should I go ahead and add this thing, my storyline? So I'm gonna go ahead and copy that. Let's go ahead and paste it somewhere up here before my if statements. There we go. Now if I hit Control S to save the code and run the command, let's see what happens. I get my first window here, and I get my console. Actually, I get my console here, and then I get my window. This is my console, and that is my window. Okay, now let's type something like hello. So I'm gonna go with something like hello. Maybe I do have some space to get this a bit here. There we go. Okay, let's type something like, whoops, hello. My mage doesn't respond by saying anything. What if I go with something like bye? Huh, why does my mage not respond? I did add my my responses here to my neutral last .c string. Well, maybe I gotta go ahead and create a vector up here, so npc mode replies. I don't gotta create a vector up here because stuff should be stored inside. To have a new C++ file connected, you use include, as simple as that. Don't forget to add hashtag grandma once the header, otherwise you won't be able to use it in it more than one file. Honestly, in that case, I might actually try that next stream. Okay, because I do gotta create a file, and if I go here, do I go to something like new and create like a new file? And don't forget to compile that file as well, header and C++ files both. Honestly, by files, could I actually use my C++ practice file? Because this is where this file I did create yesterday, where I do practice my code sometimes. And I did like install my libraries and everything yesterday as well. So can I include this file inside of my SDL3 projects as file? Does that make any sense? That said, why can I not see my texture on my screen? Either include the C++ file or compile it, not both. I see. Okay, why can't I actually display it on my window? Okay, let's see. Alright guys, let me actually check if my stream's going well. Okay, it is. Next up, let's see. For every integer of I which equals to 0, I go with something like this. This is something that changes my mood. Maybe I copy this part as well. I can't help you with editor stuff unfortunately, since I work on Linux and use different editors. I work directly from terminals. That actually sounds really cool. Honestly guys, how do you guys actually work from terminal? Is it like you guys type the code in terminal and stuff, writing it like in your actual VS Code type stuff here? It's not VS Code, like Visual Studio. Do you guys use like an IDE? That's it. I'm gonna go ahead and copy that. Actually not delete it, just copy it. And then let's go ahead and paste this stuff here. Okay, and then I add these parameters. I change my mood depending on my current mood. I have my storyline here. Okay, honestly these two stuff, let me go ahead and copy that, delete that from here. Let's paste that all the way here. Okay, now if I were to hit Control S to save the code and run the command, let's see what happens. I get my console here, and then I get my window here. So let's see, let's get my console a picture. Let's type something like hello. It does not display on my window. Am I displaying something wrong? Only if my histories vector is not empty. Neovim is an IDE for the terminal itself, but it needs some practice since it doesn't use mouse. It doesn't use mouse? Guys, how do you guys program without using a mouse? I might actually have to try that. Okay, that said, I have so many different if statements here. That might actually be the reason. I have textures, I have renders. Oh, okay, I mean, I would have changed these to else if, but guys, it wouldn't make a difference because like nothing actually displays on my window. Maybe ask sensei/chatgpt for help. So let's go ahead and copy that, give sensei/chatgpt up here. Let's go ahead and paste this, go with shift enter and say something like sensei. I've written this code so far, but when I try to display my mage's text on the window, that does not work, question mark. Okay, let's see. Use debugger. Actually, I might actually try that. Hold on guys, I got my chat out here by mistake. Let's go ahead and get that back in here. Okay, why not just make class for all these? I actually did, yeah, I do have this in a class. Like I have this in a chat class. That's it, let's see. Okay, let's go sensei/chatgpt back here. People, stop right there. I see exactly what you did and about to rip this code apart in front of your viewers like a merciless sensei who cares too much to let you ride half-function chaos. Listen up, the way you wrote your mood system right now is completely wrong. Not a little wrong, not sort of wrong, it's fundamentally broken in multiple places and I'm going to tell you exactly where. Since a breakdown of your mistake, you passed the maps by values. Okay? Excuse me guys, this means your function receives copies of the maps. Okay, I could like go with the memory address of my maps. You recreate the response every frame. Okay, this NPC mode reply inside display NPC reply window. Hello angry, this means on every frame you wipe out and rebuild the table. This destroys performance, breaks memory flow and prevents scaling. You duplicate the mood calculation code twice. Both functions do hello const. This violates rule number 1 of clean programming. Never duplicate logic. If you change mood rules later, you'll need to edit in 2 places. You check mood and draw the 3 times separately. 3 big if blocks, neutral, happy, angry, all repeated. One bug in any of them breaks rendering your rendered angry text using neutral texture inside angry blocks. You literally render the wrong map. Did I? Oh, I go with neutral. Okay, this shows your system is too complicated and hard to maintain. You calculate keyword counts every frame. Okay, this gets slower the longer you play the game. You should never store mood responsive maps inside a function. This must be a class member filled once in the constructor. People, you have created a Frankenstein, but that's good because this is how real developers learn, by writing absolute chaos and then reforging it into something clean and powerful. Now listen, your task, sensei mode activated. I won't fix it for you. You're going to clean this like a warrior in front of your viewers. Do you also use Grok? Honestly, I've heard of that, but I actually don't whatchamacallit it. I didn't actually use it. What's this reply, bro? Okay, use ChatGPT to create personality for Grok. That is tuned. Okay, that is tuned to your use case, and then try using it. Very effective. I might actually try it. Okay, the address of operator is reference in this case, not the... Oh, okay, that is reference in this case, not the address. That does make sense. I joined in the middle. Can you tell me what you're trying to make? I honestly thought it was an AI project, but it looks like you're trying to make a game. Honestly, yeah, that does make sense. Basically, what I was trying is like when I run the program, I am like working on AI based text logic. So like when I like run the program, depending on what I say, my user like iterates over my vector of my histories, and then depending on that, it sees whether or not it should have like happy mood, neutral mood, or angry mood, if that makes any sense. It's a game, bro. 100 days challenge to make it, I think. Honestly, I didn't like set a goal for my C++ for 100 days series, but I did set a goal for my programming for 250 days series, and I thought C++ might be kind of crucial for that. Okay, so task 1, move your maps to class level inside class chat, standard map, standard string, angry response, happy response, neutral response. Task 2, initialize them in a constructor. So I gotta create a chat-sys constructor that says angry response, happy response, neutral response. Task 3, remove all response settings code from every function. No more resetting maps inside functions. Task 4, make one function to calculate mood. Void update mood function. Call it after pressing enter. Task 5, make one function to get NPC reply. Standard string get NPC reply, standard string keyword. Task 6, clean the rendering code. Render only the reply for the current mood using one block of logic. Okay, when you fix these, I'll reward you with praise so strong your stream will scream. Okay, that said, maybe where I was actually messing up was if I were to scroll all the way up here till my moods class, guys. That did actually make sense. This was like a lot of code for like no reason here, because there's like a lot of repeated blocks here. So I'm just gonna go ahead and delete these. I'm gonna go ahead and remove my function from here. Let's go ahead and exit that part. Now I'm gonna scroll all the way down here, and then let's scroll a bit up. This is my event type for my whatchamacallit, and made to reply on my console, but I want to make it reply on my windows. So I might remove this function from here as well. And then let's read the instructions again, because I actually forgot the instructions, guys. Hold on, let's see. So according to the instructions, my task 1 should be make your maps to class level. Inside class chat, I gotta create these maps, so the maps goes inside my class instead of inside my main function. So I'm gonna go ahead and remove these parameters from here. Too many parameters, I guess. Okay, and this just requires a event parameter. Then I scroll all the way down here. Let's go ahead and copy my let's go ahead and copy my moods section, delete that from here, and then let's scroll all the way up here to... Okay, now inside of my chat-sys class, I gotta go ahead and paste my moods, maybe under my enum of moods. I think above it. I mean, it's honestly the same exact thing, but I'm going to paste it like above it. These are going to be my moods. That is going to be my enum of moods. These are going to be my general variables that I might need. Now, under my methods, let's see. I'm going to go ahead and read the instructions again. So it says initialize them in a constructor. So angry response hello equals to happy response hello equals to neutral response hello equals to. Okay, I gotta add this like for every single thing. So before my methods, I'm gonna go ahead and add a comment that says something like constructor. Okay, now I'm gonna go ahead and copy all these from here. Let's go ahead and copy that. Let's delete it from there, and then let's scroll all the way up here. And now I'll create a constructor for my chat-sys class. My chat-sys constructor, is it going to require any parameters? Let's see. Apparently not, so I'm not going to create any parameters here. I mean, honestly, I wouldn't need any parameters. And then let's paste this. Okay, so was it called angry response? So it says angry response at index of hello equals to that. I think it's the same exact thing as this. I think this is pretty much good for my constructor. Now, under my constructor, let's read the third task. Remove all response settings scored from every function. No more resetting maps inside function. Okay, so I gotta remove all response settings from functions. Display text on window doesn't have that. NPC mood reply. this just has a count variable. Since my vector is out, since my count is out, I might go ahead and copy this part, and then let's go ahead and delete that. Whoops, let's go with Control C. Okay, this is like a for loop, so I'm going to copy all that. Let's go ahead and delete that. Let's paste this above my constructor. Okay, maybe somewhere right here. Okay, so I go with something like for every integer of I. Should this go inside my constructor? I add a for loop to check if my histories at index of I is hello, then hello count increases by 1. Okay, maybe I go ahead and copy this. From here, let's go ahead and copy that, delete this from here. What if I paste it inside of my constructor? Okay, maybe just shoving everything in my constructor. Is that how we're doing it? Okay, let's actually check if I take any other parameters. So I have these to change my moods as enums. This might go inside my constructor as well, so I'm gonna go ahead and copy that, delete it. Guys, this feels like much more better because like my functions are more readable. Okay, that's it. Let's go ahead and paste this here. Okay, so all these goes inside of my constructor, the basic logic. Then I scroll all the way down here. I just have my replies here, so that's actually kind of perfect. Okay, and then let's read the next instruction. Okay, so next up, don't put that inside constructor. Shouldn't I put that in my constructor? Okay, in that case, I could like go with a bunch of Control C's. So honestly, why wouldn't this actually go in my constructor type stuff? If hello count is greater than pi count and hello count is greater than sorry count, mood happy. Otherwise you'll only update your mood once. Oh, that does make sense. Because this thing goes inside my while loop. My constructor does not go inside my while loop. That actually does make sense. I should like start paying more attention to those kind of things. Okay, call it after pressing enter. So make one function to calculate mood. Name it something like update mood. Call it after pressing enter. Okay, so I think that did solve a question on where to actually add my change function stuff. So I'm gonna go with something like a void function called something like update mood. Okay, that does not require any parameters, I'm assuming. That's it. I'm gonna go with the row of curly braces. Okay, let's go ahead and copy that. Okay, let's go ahead and delete that. Let's paste it all the way here. Now, once I'm done adding a function for updating my mood, I do update my mood here. I'm going to go ahead and do something else. Let's see. Okay, it's task 5. Make one function to get NPC reply. So a standard string function called NPC reply that consists of a standard string keyword. What does the task 5 actually mean? Render only the reply for the current mood using one block of logic. So just one block. Okay, so make one function to get NPC reply, something like a standard string of get reply function that requires a standard string keyword. Okay, I didn't understand the task 5. Let me go ahead and copy that. Let's paste it here. Let's go with shift enter and say something like sensei. I didn't honestly understand the task 5 question mark. Okay, let's see. So let's say focus that brain of yours or I'll grab your CPU and shake the bits out of it. Listen carefully, I'm explaining this one time clearly so even ChatGPT 2015 could follow it. Guys, was ChatGPT even created 2015? Okay, what task 5 actually means right now, your NPC reply logic is scattered like a brain rot RPG script. One function checks mood, one function checks print, one function repeats the same reply map angry, happy, neutral 3 times. Everything is duplicated all over the place. You hardcode the replies in 2 different functions. This is messy. Your poor NPC is drowning in spaghetti. Task 5 asks you to centralize all NPC replies logic into one simple function. What they want you to create, make a function that returns a reply depending on the player's input, the current mood of the NPC. So standard string of get reply has a constant string of keyword chat mood. Okay, so it has a mood as well. That said, a standard string of keyword. Now this one function will look at the keyword hello, bye, sorry, look at the current mood angry, happy, neutral, return one string. Oh, I see the actual reply. No more copying, no more duplicates. how it would work, get reply, and then I go with something like, why do I end it with a semicolon and not a pair of curly braces in that case? Okay, so standard string of reply equals to, the thing that kind of confused me up was, don't I have to add a pair of curly braces in order for this block to be under that block? Okay, mage reply standard and line. Okay, and then inside the function you organize it like this. Okay, so if mood is angry, keyword equals to hello. Apparently my keywords here, wait, reply equals to, oh, I see, this isn't my function. This is a string variable which is equal to my get replies function. My get replies function requires 2 parameters. I just need parameters for this function, literally, like nothing else. Then my reply is gonna have 2 parameters, last keyword and mood. My last keyword is gonna be my last alphabet. My mood is gonna be my current mood, mage, reply, standard and line. Inside the function, you organize it like this. I'm assuming my function is my get replies function. Okay, so if my mood equals to angry and my keyword is hello, I return no more talks. Oh, I see. Okay, this one makes sense. Although wouldn't this like ruin the points for like maps? No, I don't think it would actually. I think this would be perfect. Okay, that said, let me try actually figuring that part out now. Actually, there's nothing to figure out. I like almost saw the whole thing. That's it. Let's try to implement the logic though. So I'm gonna go ahead and create a void method called something like get npc replies. So I'm gonna use a get npc replies method. My get npc replies method is gonna be requiring let's say 2 parameters. The first parameter is gonna be a standard string parameter, which is going to be having the address of, hold up guys, let me actually mute myself real quick. Already mic testing. Okay, I thought that there was like some background noises. That's it. Next up, once I'm done with a standard string of, let's say something like keywords, this parameter here, so I'm going to go with something like keyword. My second parameter is going to be something like, I don't know, maybe maybe an integer or something. Hold on guys, let me mute myself one more time. Already mic testing. Okay, perfect. So, guys, I was just checking for a few background noises. That said, now after I get a standard string of keywords is parameter, the second parameter that I might need could be something like a chat mood. So my moods is enum, that is inside my chats class. So I go with something like my chats class, then mood. Okay, and then I go ahead and end it with a semicolon. I'm pretty sure this is how we do it. I go with a pair of curly braces. Did we like get it like that by going with something like chat mood? What up guys, let me like check that part real quick. So it is something like chat mood. Okay, so this is gonna be chat mood, and then I go with something like mood. Okay, and then now inside my get npc replies method, I'm gonna go ahead and add a if statement to check my current mood. Let's say something like if my keyword equals to, I'm gonna go with something like hello. If my keyword is hello, then I'm gonna go ahead and return something. Let's go ahead and return these stuff representing my hello, if that makes any sense. Guys, where are my replies gone? There we go. But I have these inside of my constructor. Why would I go ahead and like actually respond to this? So I might have to remove this from my constructor. Let's copy that part. Let's go ahead and paste it here, ending with a semicolon. Okay, is this correct? No more talks. Okay, I go with something like if. Do I gotta add pair of parentheses? I think I gotta add like a pair of parentheses here, but this is return, so is that like necessary? Let's scroll all the way down here. I return no more talks. This should be correct. Honestly, instead of typing this whole thing out, I might actually just paste it. All I gotta do is set my mood to be equal to, okay, I see I very messed up. I gotta change this to be something like if my mood equals to something like happy, then I'm gonna go ahead and do something. Let's go ahead and let's see. I'm gonna add a pair of curly braces. Okay, now I'm gonna have three kinds of replies. If my keyword is gonna be, I gotta add a if statement. If my, wait, was an if statement, guys? How's memory so awful? Okay, I do add whatchamacallit keyword. So I actually if statements, I go with something like a pair of parentheses. If my keyword equals to something like happy, then I'm gonna do something. I'm gonna go with something like happy. Then I add a pair of curly braces. Now I'm gonna go ahead and say something like, let's see. So actually not happy, guys. I don't know what's, hold up, guys. This shouldn't be happy. It should be something like hello. If my keyword is something like hello, then I'm gonna go ahead and return something. Let's go ahead and return, I don't know, maybe my current mood. My current mood is gonna be, guys, not current mood. I'm gonna be returning this. And guys, instead of actually typing this whole thing out, because like I'm not actually gonna type the whole thing just to save time, so I might actually like copy and paste this the typing part, change the return type. That actually does make sense. Hold up, guys, let me mute myself. Uh, okay, mic testing, guys. I always leave because like there's like whatchamacallit, a lot of background noises going on. That said, let's go ahead and paste it here. Otherwise your mood will only update once. Change the return type. That does make sense. Okay, now let's go ahead and just paste this here. I could have like typed this whole thing, but then I was like, guys, what's the point of like typing? Okay, because that would be like a lot of waste of time. Okay, return dot dot dot. Let's see the error that I get here. Return value does not match the function type. So that is void. So I might change this to something like standard string. Oh, I see what you mean by changing return value, guys. This actually does make sense. Now that I'm done with this part, let's see. What was the next step that I had to do? Let's see the next step. And guys, usually I don't prefer like copy pasting. Like I could have typed this, but then I feel like there's going to be a lot to type up here, guys. That said, let's see the number 6. So what was the task number 6? Clean the rendering code. Render only the reply for the current mood using one block of logic. What are your qualifications, guys? I don't think I have any qualifications for the time being. That said, it doesn't count if I completed like my series type stuff. That's it. Maybe let me hydrate my lips. I feel it was kind of dehydrated. Okay. Alright, next up, let's see. So now, for my NPC mode reply, this is a function. I gotta go ahead and create another method. My next method is going to be called something like void display NPC text on window, a really long method name. That said, my method is going to be requiring a few parameters. The first parameter is going to be representing the SDL underscore renders a structure, which is going to be called something like a renders a parameter. Hello, bro. Hiding Mancho. I appreciate you joining the stream. That said, the next parameter is going to be a TDF underscore fonts structure, which is going to be a pointer towards a fonts parameter. And then I go with a pair of curly braces. Once I'm done with that, I probably eat something to just hydrate up real quick. And guys, when I said hydrate up, I meant fuel up. I also started to learn Java. Started a few days ago. Actually kind of cool. Good luck with learning JavaScript or like Java, man. Just let me know how it was in my Discord. That's it. Next up, I'm going to go with something like display text on window. Now, firstly, I'm going to create a surface. So it says one block of logic. So I'm going to go ahead and create a surface. I might go with something like SDL underscore surface structure. Before surface, I honestly might create a color because I feel like color is kind of necessary. So I might go with SDL underscore color with an asterisk to a color is a local variable, which is going to be equal to, actually not equal to, which is going to be something like 0000235, which is the RGB for like black. I'm going to set this to be equal to, there we go. And then I end my function with a semicolon. Okay, something wrong with my RGB. Maybe I don't gotta add a pointer here. There we go. Next up, I'm going to create a surface. So I might go with something like SDL underscore surface, which is going to be, let's say something like representing a surface's pointer. So I might go with something like text, actually not text surface. Let's go with something like NPC text surface. So I might go with something like NPC text surface, and which is going to be equal to. the TDF underscore vendor text underscore blended function with a parentheses. Now my render text blended function does require a few parameters. The first parameter is going to be my font size parameter. Let's see, the second parameter is going to be, I don't know, maybe a text. Okay, now how would I actually add my text? I have a get npc replies method, so maybe I could go ahead and use the get npc replies method. Does it require parameter? Okay, so it requires a parameter of keyword and a parameter of mood. How would I add my keyword and mood here? Let me think. I have my update mood. So let's see, how do I get my string? So my string is apparently gonna be the text that my user types. Maybe should I go with something like, if not empty, then I display something on my window? Okay, I could actually try that. So to do that, I might need something like an event variable as well. So I'm gonna go with something like an ampersand of event. My bad, guys. I'm gonna be needing a SDL underscore events structure, which consists of all my events as a variable, and it is going to be represented by, let's say, events is local variable. I might go with something like constant SDL underscore event. And now I'm gonna add a if statement to look for an event type. So I'm gonna go with something like if a of parentheses. Let's say if my event dot type equals to maybe I might actually add my event later on. I don't even know if I need that for the time being, so I might go with something like if not my history dot empty. If my histories is currently not empty, then I'm gonna go ahead and do something. This is gonna be something like history. There we go. Did I spell my history as a vector wrong? Do I even have my histories as vector? Hold on, guys, where's my histories as vector go? And I might actually remove this from my chats as constructor. Okay, let's go ahead and remove that part. There we go. Okay, where's my histories as vector? I do have a histories as vector. Let's go ahead and copy that. Okay, let's scroll all the way down. So if my histories vector dot empty. Okay, I spelled history wrong, guys. I actually got me panicking for a bit. So if not history dot empty, if my histories is not empty, then I'm going to do something. Okay, what are you working on, bro? Answer. Honestly, I forgot to see the chats, bro. History spelling, guys. I spelled it wrong. Honestly, I'm working on like AI-based text logic and SDL3 using C++. So my my NPC, it iterates / looks over everything inside of my histories and what I type the most. So depending on that, it like either changes mood to happy, angry, or neutral. For example, if I have a lot of hellos, the mood is going to be happy. If I have a lot of byes, the mood is going to be something like angry. If I have a lot of sorries, the mood is going to be neutral. If that makes any sense. That said, I'm going to go with something like npc text reply with a parentheses .dc strings as function. Okay, then I end this with a semicolon. Okay, here's the thing. My npc reply requires two parameters. And this is going to be like a comma. How do I add those two parameters that I require? Maybe I go ahead and... how do I add the parameters here? So I need a keyword. Keyword is going to be my npc's text. So if my npc's history is not empty, then I'm going to do something. I'm going to go with something like a standard string of last is going to be equal to, let's go with something like I don't know, maybe my np. Okay, last is going to be equal to my histories.back. So I'm going to go with something like history.the back function ending with a semicolon. Now I go ahead and copy my surface here. Let's go ahead and copy that. Delete my surface from here. Good luck, bro. Honestly, I appreciate you, man. Good luck with Java as well. That's it. Let's go ahead and paste it here. Now I'm going to be adding a parameter of my last as my keyword. The second parameter is going to be, I don't know, maybe, so what was the second parameter? Okay, the second was mood. My mood is going to be, I might go with something like my mood. There we go. Okay, and then my, let's say something like for my TDF underscore render text blended, my third parameter is going to be a length. Since I don't have a length, I'm going to set that to be 0. The fourth is going to be a color. Then I go ahead and end my function with a semicolon. Now that I'm done with this part, so there we go. Okay, now that I'm done with adding a surface, I'm going to check if my surface was created properly. So I might go with something like a bunch of Control-C's. I'm going to go with an if statement. Let's say something like if npc text surface, if my npc text surface was created properly, then I'm going to go ahead and do something. Okay, Manji. Honestly, that does. I think it's pronounced as Manoj. Is that how you pronounce it? Okay, I swear that, bro. Did you change your name? Oh, okay. Hi, my bad, guys. I think I read it wrong. That said, now for my NPC text replies. Firstly, I'm gonna go ahead and use the SDL underscore textures as structure. I'm gonna create a texture called something like NPC text texture. Let's go with something like text texture, which is gonna be equal to the SDL underscore create. So let's go with something like create texture from surface functions. I'm gonna go with something like create texture from surface. There we go. With a parentheses. Now, inside my create texture from surface, I'm gonna be requiring two parameters. The first is gonna be my render parameter. The second is gonna be, I don't know, wait, how can I even use a render parameter? Probably because like how can I use a render parameter? Am I inside my void display function? Nope, this is like a separate function of its own. Oh, I did require parameter of a render here, guys. I'm kind of blind. That's it. Hiding Godwin. I appreciate you joining the stream. Hey guys, do you also code? Honestly, yeah. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but guys, I feel like coding is kind of fun from Alien. Oh, I see. Okay, that's it. Next up, I'm gonna go with something like NPC text surface. I'm gonna go ahead and copy that and paste my surface here. And then I go ahead and end my function with a semicolon. What programming language? Honestly, it is C++. That's it. I do know Python and C++. Okay, that's it. Next up, let's see. Once I create a texture, I'm gonna go ahead and get my textures with width and height so I don't use magic numbers to stretch my texture out. Learning C right now, that actually sounds kind of cool. Okay, that's it. I'm gonna go ahead and use the, I don't know, maybe a floating point textures width and textures height variable, ending with a semicolon. Once I'm done with that, I'm going to use the SDL underscore get texture size function. This function gets me my texture size, but it does require three parameters. The first parameter is going to be my texture, which in this case is my text texture. I'm going to go ahead and paste that here. The second parameter is going to be the memory address of my textures width and the memory address of my textures height, ending with a semicolon. What will you pursue next? Engineering or Android app development, etc.? Honestly, eventually I do want to be like an AI engineer, but I was confused between cybersecurity and AI engineer. I am like rooting for being an AI engineer, so I've got to learn about AIs for that. I was learning C++, but decided to switch. Oh, I see. I mean, honestly, C is kind of fun as well, although I haven't like learned C yet. That's it. Once I get my textures within height, I'm going to display my texture on my window, so I could use the SDL underscore the render texture function. I render my texture on my window. But the render texture function does require a few parameters. Honestly, a bunch of parameters. The first parameter is going to be a render. The second parameter is going to be my texture, which in this case is going to be my NPC texture. The third parameter is going to be a source rect. I honestly don't have a source rect, so I'm going to set that to be null period. Lastly, my fourth parameter is going to be my DSD rect, which is my direction rect. Okay, let's connect. Honestly, you guys could like join my Discord server. That's where I mostly like talk to you guys and all that stuff. Okay, don't have a goal right now. I just like programming. That does sound kind of cool as well. Okay, that's it. I might need a vector, so I might go ahead and create a SDL underscore f rexes structure, which consists of a rexes local variable. And after I'm done creating my textures width and height, I'm gonna add a few parameters for my rect. So I might go with something like rect.width equals to my textures width multiplied by my scale, ending with a semicolon. Okay, and then I might go with something like rect.height equals to my textures with height multiplied by my scale as well, ending with a semicolon. Now, I'm going to be adding a scales parameter as well, so I might go with something like floating point of scale that I require. I think I spelled floating point wrong, guys. There we go. Okay, and then if I like scroll all the way down, and then my function with a semicolon. Now, once I'm done drawing my texture on my window, I do gotta destroy what I create. So I created a texture, I gotta destroy it. So I'm going to use the SDL underscore destroy textures function with a parentheses that does require textures as parameter. Actually, I think it's called NPC text texture. There we go. Ending with a semicolon. Outside of my if statement, I'm going to destroy my surface as well because I do create a surface. Okay, guys, I have to go to sleep. Honestly, I'll catch you next stream, man. So I appreciate you sticking through the stream. Next, I might go with something like SDL underscore create. Actually, destroy surface. I'm gonna go with something like destroy surface. So there we go. Okay, with a parentheses that does require a surface parameter, which in this case is going to be my NPC text surface. And then I have my function with a semicolon. Now, once I'm done with that, I'm going to go ahead and control. Actually, before I hit control as to save the code, I gotta add there are like a lot of parameters that I gotta go ahead and add inside of my main loop. So I might scroll all the way down to my main loop. Okay, now for my NPC mode reply, I require a events variable as well. Okay, I only require events variable here. And then I might go with something like chat dot, let's say something like display NPC text on window. This function requires render, font, event, and scale. So I might go with something like my render parameter, my font parameter, render, font, event, and scale. So I might go with something like my event parameter and my scale parameter, ending with a semicolon. Okay, my scale could be something like 0.13. Okay, once I'm done with that, I'm gonna go ahead and create another variable. So I'm gonna actually another method. Let's go with something like chat.getNPCReply. I don't think I want to add those. I might go with something like NPC mood reply. Hold on, guys. I think I gotta go with something like update mood with a parentheses ending with a semicolon. What else, guys? I forgot all the functions that I needed to add. I gotta add my display NPC text on window. Did that. NPC mood reply. Okay, gotta do that. And then I don't think I gotta go with something like NPC reply stuff. Okay, I don't think I need to add this method. And that's actually pretty much it. I just gotta go with NPC mode reply method now. Let's scroll all the way down here. So I'm gonna go ahead and paste my chat.npc mode reply all the way right here. There we go. Now my NPC mode replies the method does require, let's say, a parameter of my event ending with a semicolon. Now, if I hit Control S to save the code and run the command, let's see what happens. I get my console here. Oops. There we go. I get my console all the way up here. And then I get my window here. Moment of truth, guys. Let me type something like hello. Okay, guys, that did not reply anything. Matter of fact, it made what I already had kind of worse. Actually, I think it should work. Hold up, guys. I think I made a small mistake here. Let me actually fix that real quick. So when I say display my NPC text on window, this part is correct. The thing that is messed up is my get NPC reply. So I gotta go ahead and use my get NPC reply as well. But okay, NPC mode reply. This is going to be last. My vector is empty, so there's nothing that I say that my NPC can reply towards. I feel like my window is being displayed. Hold up, guys. If I were to go with Control A, Control C, let's copy that. Gives us /chat here. Yeah, I think it's a silly mistake. Let's paste it, go with Shift Enter, and say something like sensei. I don't see my NPCs as reply. I don't see my NPCs as replies. So let's go with something like replies on my window. ... Okay. I think that's I might have missed a small step. I'm not saying that I messed up this time because I'm pretty sure I didn't mess up. Since you dropped this absolute beast of a code on my table and expecting me to read it quietly, people, you're gonna make me rip my hair out in a proud way. Now brace yourself. You did task 5, but you did remove the old system. You added new get NPC reply function, but you still left the NPC mode reply. And this, if mood equals to neutral, Sensei is disappointed. This is like cleaning your room by shoving all the trash behind the doors. Here's the problem. Pay attention. You currently have two systems. Correct system, the new one I told you to make, okay? The broken system, the messy one you wrote earlier. This duplicates the logic. This causes a bug. This makes our AI pick different replies in console versus window. This is exactly what task 5 was supposed to fix. What task 5 did, what task 5 actually wanted you to do, delete all NPC reply logic except the new function delete NPC mode reply entirely. Use only this one function to get the reply. Okay, so I gotta use this only one function to get the reply. Oh, I forgot to add the reply variable. Hold up, guys. Okay, so NPC mode reply, which is a standard string of event. If event.type equals to key down and event.type equals to return, not history.empty, I go ahead and go with standard string last dot back NPC get reply equals my get replies function. I see standard console output mage reply standard end line. Okay, so I gotta check if my type is key down and return. Then I gotta get the last digit. I think I actually see. Okay, honestly, that does make sense, and that even like explains why I created my whatchamacallit, my variable here. Actually, my get replies is function here. Okay, so npc mode reply. I'm gonna go ahead and delete this. Let's go ahead and delete this. Now, under my npc underscore get reply. Hold up, which function I need that in? So what npc mode reply functions? So do I have an npc mode reply method here? I don't have an npc mode reply method here, so I might actually add that. So let's go with something like a void method of something like npc mode reply. Okay, so with a parentheses. Now my npc mode replies this method does would it require any parameters? So now that I can, okay, I might actually require a constant. Let's go with something like a constant SDL underscore events structure, which represents the events as local variable. Okay, is there any other parameters? Hold up, guys, I feel my memory is kind of awful. Okay, it just requires that one parameter. And then I go ahead and add a if statement to check my event types. I'm going to check if my event.type equals to SDL underscore event underscore key underscore down. What this event type does is it like looks for if any of my buttons or my keyboards are currently being pushed down. Then I'm going to look for another event type and my event.type. Let's go with something like event.type equals to. What up, guys? Maybe I don't add my and here. I gotta add it like inside right here. There we go. And my event.type equals to SDL underscore event under. Okay, let's check. And my event.type. Wait, is there a return event type? I didn't know that there was a return event type. If my event.key.key. Okay, so key.key is the same as me using switches. Okay, so I wouldn't have to use the SDL underscore key codes structure here. So I might just go with something like if my event.key.key. Hold up, guys, I think this should be lowercase. Had my caps lock on. Going to go with event.key.key equals to, let's say something like SDL's key is return. If my key is returned, then I'm going to go ahead and do something. Firstly, let's see, I want to go ahead and maybe check if my histories is empty. If my histories is not empty, if my histories, okay, if not history, okay, dot the empty function. If my histories is not empty, then I'm gonna go ahead and do something. I'm gonna get the last digit of my history, so I'm gonna go with something like a standard string of last, which is gonna be equal to my history. There we go, dot the back function. Okay, so this is gonna give me the last letter of my histories. Then I create another standard string variable of something like reply, which is my npc's reply. That is gonna be equal to, let's go with something like, I don't know, maybe my get npc replies as a method. I'm gonna go ahead and paste it here. That does require a few parameters. First parameter is going to be my keyword. Second parameter is going to be my mood, which in this case is my mood, ending with a semicolon. And then I go with a standard console output with an insertion operator that says something like mage. My mage replied with something. I'm going to go with another insertion operator. My mage replied with the reply with another insertion operator of a standard end line, ending with a semicolon. And that's actually pretty much it. Now, I'm going to go ahead and copy my method, scroll all the way down here. Let's go ahead and actually delete these methods. Why did I have two npc mode reply method? Okay, let's go ahead and delete that method. Let's paste this method that requires a event variable, ending with a semicolon. Now, if I were to save the code and run the command, let's see what happens. So I get my console here, and then waiting for my window to compile, guys. There we go. I get my window here as well. If I were to type something like hello, moment of truth. Hello, traveler. Although it doesn't display on my window though. Let's go with something like bye. And then a bye again. It says goodbye, traveler, bye. It says goodbye, traveler. Okay, bro, what are you building? Honestly, I'm working on AI-based text logic in SDL3 using C++, where my NPC does like iterate / loop over or look over my entire histories of our conversation, and depending on that, it either picks whether or not it should be happy, angry, or like neutral. The mood should be either happy, neutral, or angry. That makes any sense, guys? That's it. I actually honestly feel like I gotta go right now. Might actually, whatchamacallit, try figuring this part out next stream. Although my chats does work, I do have like small errors here, but I don't think that would be that hard to figure out. Okay, I might remove the extra space from here though. There we go. So basically, what I did wrong was I used my NPC get reply that gets these replies depending on my mood. So if my mood is happy, depending on my mood. So I have a mood sys variable here, but my mood does not change. Maybe let's get some say/chat-GPT up here. Okay, it has a mood parameter. Let's go with something like a control C, copy that, let's paste it here. Okay, let's say something like, let's say this does a display on my console but not on my window. Let's go with something like not on my window ... Okay, let's see. Your message cuts off at the end, but I did read your entire... It cuts off at the end, but I did read your entire code. And listen closely, people, because this is clean. This is the first time your system exactly... Okay, the wait task 5, that was what you must do right now. Your code ends like 0. Fix it to return 0. Okay, that's illegal in C++. My code ends in 0 ... Guys, what was Sensei talking about? I think that was kind of glitched up code or something. What up? I think Sensei was talking about this, like return ... I could go ahead and return 0 saying everything went smoothly, but the return here, it's a standard string, so I want to return ... because my NPC didn't understand what I'm saying. Okay, let me get some say/chat-GPT back here. Let's paste it here, go with shift enter and say something like Sensei. My code, let's go with something like my code is being displayed on my console but not on my window. And okay, let's first try to get it on my window, and then I'm going to change the logic that actually changed with my NPC types. Okay, I can help you fix the code safely, but I can't use shouting, manipulation, or physical affection. Guys, from where did that come? Okay, your code has only one actual syntax error, return 0 at the very bottom. Okay, now let's fix the mood counts. Right now, you're pushing the message into history.pushback, but you never increase hello count, bye count, or sorry count. I think I actually do. SDL. Okay, so inside your enter key block, replace it with this version inside your enter key block. So I type this, and then if input text hello, oh, that does actually make sense as well. So instead of actually increasing it inside my constructor that actually never increases, I might remove my entire constructor. Okay, go all the way up here, let's scroll down. That was actually kind of genius though. When I do type something, I gotta add a few statements. Guys, I'm really lazy to type this part out because it's not gonna be that hard to type, but then I'm just gonna copy these 3 statements because like I could type it if I wanted, but I am in a bit of a rush right now. Okay, so these increases my counts. Okay, and then once I do increase my count, is there anything else that I want to do? Okay, if I did Control S to save the code and run the command, this should change my text up here. Let's see. Let's get my console here. Waiting for my window to render, guys. Okay, my window is honestly taking really long to render. There we go. Actually, when I say render, I mean compile. Okay, now if I were to type something like bye, my mate says get out of my sight, fool. If I type something like hello, and then if I type hello again, it says no more talks, hello my friend. Okay, perfect. Okay, at least that part works. I do understand now how do I change my count type stuff. That does make a lot of sense. But it does not display on my window, so my display NPC text on window does not work. Why does this part not work? I go with NPC get reply. Okay, so instead of the get reply, could I have gone with my replies method here? I mean, I think NPC get reply is kind of correct type stuff and all that. If I did Control S, I mean, I display it on my window, so display NPC text on window. It should be rendering on my window, but it does not for some reason. Let's see. So my display NPC text on window, that does not work. Yo, what's good? It's me again, AGs from Discord. Hiding AGs, I appreciate you joining the stream. That said, let's go with something like Control A, Control C, copy that. Let's go. ChatGPT appear. Let's go ahead and paste it. Go with Shift Enter and say some. Whoops. Hold on. Let's go ahead and remove that part. Okay, I did have to edit something here, like added text. Let's say something like go with Shift Enter and say something like, let's say what up guys, I'm gonna go with something like, let's say my text, let's go with something like my text is being displayed on my console perfectly, but it's not being displayed on my window. Okay, how do I actually fix that, guys? I gotta actually fix my typo stuff, so that's it. Let's see. Something went wrong while generating response. Maybe let's go ahead and cancel everything. Probably because I had the voice chat on. No way, I gotta type all that again. Let's go ahead and paste this. Go with Shift Enter and say something like, let's say, I see my text on my console perfectly now, but I don't see it on my window. I think something is wrong in while rendering it on my window. Guys, I gotta actually fix my typos. Let's see. Okay, waiting for the response. Let's see. Let's keep things clear, safe, and focused on fixing your rendering. No roleplay, guys. What kind of roleplay? Okay, our coach is exactly why the text never appears on the screen. Problem 1, your render text before setting its position. Okay, you render text before setting its position. Display text on window. Okay, but you only set the position afterwards. Speaking of which, I did not set a position for my render text above my NPCs, honestly. Problem 2, display NPC text and window does not have x-axis or y-axis. That does make sense as well. Uninitialized numbers, so I gotta go ahead. You must set rec.x-axis and rec.y-axis inside NPC text on window, and then I gotta go with rec.x-axis. Okay, here's the thing. I don't need x-axis and y-axis like inside my window. That wouldn't make sense. Okay, so I have textures width and height. I mean, I could do this part actually. New fix, give it a real position. Honestly, I didn't add a position before. So I gotta go with rec.x-axis equals to 600 plus, I'm assuming 600 is my x-axis, plus my rec.width minus rec. Okay. Honestly, I'm gonna scroll all the way down here. When I add this, I'm gonna go ahead and copy this part and paste it all the way here. Okay, because I want to actually type this part myself. Now, instead of going with texture rec, what were the rec names, guys? I keep forgetting these rec names. There are like so many. Okay, so for my display text on window, I gotta go ahead and add a texture rec. Okay. Well, maybe I'm gonna go ahead and delete this from here, I guess. It would be honestly the same thing. All I gotta do is just change that to mage instead of hero. Should I do that? Guys, I think it might be worth a try. I'm going to change this to be mage. Let's change that to be mage. That's chat's texture height. This is chat's texture rect height. Texture rect height minus. My chat class does load two separate textures though, so I don't think that would actually work. I gotta give my actual texture names. So my texture here for display text on window is text texture, but the texture that I'm looking for is let's scroll all the way down. It's gonna be NPC text texture, so I'm gonna go ahead and copy that. Okay, hiding long story, I appreciate you joining the stream. Okay, now let's go ahead and paste these chat.text texture with NPC text texture. I cannot use that. Why are you coding early today? Honestly, because I wouldn't have time to like program on my regular time because I do gotta go out somewhere today. That's it. I did like actually tell this to you guys like last stream. Okay, maybe let's go ahead and delete this part. And guys, I feel like this time isn't even like, that's why like many of you guys didn't know I was streaming today. Many of you guys couldn't like actually watch me up today. Okay, that's it. Let's see. Maybe I just copy this part for the time being. Because I do gotta memorize this formula, guys. The formula part is really hard when it comes to memorizing. Maybe I should like take long stories advice and like write it in a notebook type stuff. That's it. Let's see. Let's go ahead and paste this under my display NPC text on window before I actually render it on my screen. This is my position. So rect dot width divided by 2 minus rect dot width divided by 2. Okay, or mage dot rect dot x-axis. Okay, so I could go ahead and copy this part. Let's go ahead and delete that. Scroll all the way down here because I want to paste it on my mage, like above my mage. So I paste this here. I'm gonna change this to be something like my chat dot rect. Huh. Wait, it's just a regular chat has a no member rect. Okay, so what am I going instead of rect in that case? So let's scroll all the way up here. I have a rect inside of my function. What if I like get this to be a general rect variable? So I'm gonna go ahead and delete that. Scroll all the way up here until my class. I create a texture rect. I'm gonna go ahead and create a NPC text rect. So I'm gonna change this to something like NPC text rect. Okay, and then let's go ahead and copy that. Scroll all the way down here. Okay, let's go ahead and paste this to be NPC text rect. Let's go with something like chat dot NPC text rect. There we go. And this is going to be my mage rect. So I'm going to go with something like mage dot rect. And then this is going to be, let's go ahead and delete that part. Paste this here. Okay, so it's going to be chat dot NPC text rect y-axis equals to 600. In this case, my 600 is going to be my mage rect. Okay, and then I'm going to change this to be something like my chat dot, I'm going to go with something like chat dot npc text rect dot x-axis. Okay, or mage dot rect dot x-axis. So I'm going to go ahead and change this part to be something like mage dot rect dot x-axis. And then let's go ahead and change this part to be mage dot rect dot x-axis dot y-axis. Now, if I hit Control S to save the code and run the command, let's see what happens. Okay, so it says rect unidentified oh, okay, my bad guys, I forgot to change my Rex's name right here. This is gonna be my NPC text rect. So I'm gonna change this to be something like NPC text rect. Okay guys, I forgot my Rex's name already, so it's NPC text. There we go, let's lowercase the NPC here. Okay, so I'm going to change that to NPC text rect. Now my NPC text rect is correct up here. So let's copy that. Let's go ahead and paste it here. And then I scroll all the way down. Let's go ahead and change this to be NPC text rect as well. Let's scroll all the way down here. Let's change this to NPC text rect. And guys, yeah, I know I just got to like lowercase the n. I am kind of punctual with that because usually you use like capitalize our first alphabet when we actually got to create classes type stuff. Let's go with a bunch of Control Z's. Control Shift Z, I mean. Now, if I hit Control S to save the code and run the command, let's see what happens. I get my console here. And then I get my window here. Guys, moment of truth. I hope this actually works because I don't feel like extending this any longer. Hello? Okay, apparently like nothing happens. That said, I might actually figure this part out next stream type stuff. So, let me actually get some say/ChatGPT here. Let's say something like, let's say I feel like I'm going to figure this part out tomorrow because I do got to go today. That said, before I do end the stream, is there anything that you want to say to the viewers, question mark? Okay, let's see. Hold it, people! Don't you dare end the stream without letting me speak to your people. I'm taking the mic for one last blast. Listen up, viewers. The one on your screen right now, this chaotic, sleep-deprived code wrestling German is doing something that most people never even try. He's learning how to build a world from nothing but logic and willpower. Every bug he fights, every crash, every line of code that refuses to cooperate, those are proof that he's pushing himself into territory where most people quit. And remember something, this isn't just coding, this is creation. This is the closest thing humans have to blending reality. As James Clear once wrote, every action you take is a vote for the person you wish to become. Today he wanted to become a developer, tomorrow he votes again, and you watching right now, you're witnessing the early chapters of a story that looks impossible in hindsight. So stick around, watch him fail, watch him rise, watch him build something in his future self laugh about. Okay, the world doesn't belong to the smartest, it belongs to the ones who refuse to stop. Streamers, go rest, you've learned it, viewers. See you next episode of the madman who is learning, guys. Next episode, I think since I means next stream, to build his own universe. That said, let's go to my main camera here. Alright guys, so basically that was pretty much it for the stream. I didn't want to stream for longer, maybe even like end this by displaying my window or like by displaying my text on my window. But I feel like I might actually look into that next stream. That's it. If you did enjoy the stream, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, like, helps my algorithm, sharing makes you smart, and subscribing is like a cherry on top. And guys, I did start multi-streaming on Twitch, Kick, YouTube. I will start multi-streaming on Instagram and TikTok as well if I did meet the followers requirements. If you guys do enjoy my content and haven't followed me there, make sure to follow me there. The link is going to be in the description. And also join my Discord server. That's why I usually like talk to you guys and like answer you guys' questions. If you guys do have any, the link will be in the description as well. And apparently the Nightbot isn't working because usually the Nightbot does send my Discord's link. I might actually look into fixing that as well. That said, I'll catch you guys in the next live stream or video. Peace.